and feeling your best. Whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add to your box, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service.
Factor lets you do you. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Because Factor's meals are chef-prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only how Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals. And Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining out, so you can put that extra cash that you save towards holiday shopping. Find guilt-free comfort foods like home-style chicken and gravy and loaded mashed potato pork chops. Feel-good vegan options like sweet potato and chickpea curry, and globally inspired flavors like Peruvian shrimp and red pepper collie grits.
Stay on your A game with quality ingredients you can trust and quality you can taste in every one of Factor's fresh, never frozen meals. Use your time more efficiently. So important during these dark months. Let Factor take shopping, prepping, cooking, and cleaning up off your daily list of things to do. Head to factormeals.com/50newsdump and use code 50newsdump to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50newsdump at factormeals.com/50newsdump to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active.
This episode is also brought to you by Public Rec. Now, let's be real, guys. Wearing nice pants sucks. Who decided that stiff, uncomfortable fabric squeezing your family jewels was the key to looking sharp? Well, here's an early holiday gift from us to you. Those days are finally over.
Yay.
Public Rec's Daymaker pants are here to make sure you stay comfy and classy this season. They feel like your favorite sweats, but look like tailored pants. Yup, super stretchy, with an elastic waistband so you can rock them anywhere. Give the gift of comfort to yourself or someone that you love this holiday season with Public Rec's Daymaker pants. For a limited time, you can get 20% off your entire order with code NEWSDUMP at publicrec.com. That is 20% off when you use promo code NEWSDUMP at publicrec.com.
I love these pants. They're great pants.
So comfy.
If you know us, you know we love comfort, and that's why we were thrilled to take Public Rec's Daymaker pants as well as some of their classic shirts for a spin. And we can confirm these clothes are comfy as hell.
And you don't get judged like you're wearing sweatpants out.
No one's looking at you like, look at that slob. No, they're like, look at that classy guy.
Looking sharp. Well, yeah, and I'm comfy.
Their proprietary blend of performance materials provides the perfect combination of breathability and stretch while still holding its form. You'll never want to take them off. But they're not just comfy, they're stylish too. The Daymaker pants come in 10 unique colorways, from navy, dark olive, and stone gray. You're sure to find the right color for you. Public Rec not only has the most comfortable pants ever made, but they have a huge selection of high-quality everyday basics. You can revamp your entire wardrobe with their perfect-fitting polos, shorts, and hoodies.
Stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season. For a limited time only, our viewers get 20% off when you use code NEWSDUMP at checkout. That is 20% off with the code NEWSDUMP at publicrec.com. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you found Public Rec.
Tired of fighting pants.
No, that's right.
All right, back in the news now, and we're already starting to see the first clues as to what will happen when all of your AI-enabled friends start dying. First of all, they aren't going to die because humanity has fought back, stolen your AI friend, and tossed them into a vat of molten steel, nor does the robot glitch out because you happen to figure out that flash photography fries its circuits or something. No, the answer is actually much more lame and predictable and all of that. The robots will die because the companies that build and operate them, they sometimes go bankrupt. And the one thing a robot needs aside from electricity is money. Electricity is also expensive.
Yeah.
No financial support for the company, no working robots for your kids. Sorry, freaks.
Yeah.
Make a real human friend. Oh, and any robots that you did purchase before we, the robot company, went under, they're going to start shutting down. Sorry. Tough luck.
Yeah.
Could be a good lesson for your kid, though. Everything you will ever love will die. There's nothing you can do about it.
This robot teaches the toughest life lesson of all.
Now I know why you cry.
So you might remember these things from a couple of years back. They were AI robots for toddlers. They got faces on them that could emote, arms that would move. They'd have conversations with your kids while providing them with information and natural responses to questions. More like an advanced Teddy Ruxpin.
They're in my sights.
So now, unfortunately, the parent company of the Moxie robot is going under and leaving thousands of dead robot best friends in its wake.
You're robot. Have a little robot funeral.
Yeah. Here's more from Aftermath, which, by the way, is a site built by former Kotaku writers. You should absolutely subscribe to their site. Links are always in the description. AI company Embodied announced this week that they would be shutting down following financial difficulties and a sudden withdrawal of funding. Embodied's main product was Moxie, an AI-powered social robot specifically made with autistic children in mind. The robot itself cost $799, and now, following the closure of Embodied, it will cease to function.
In a closing FAQ emailed to users and posted on their website, Embodied made it clear that Moxie was likely to stop working within days. No refunds will be given, and if you bought the device on a payment plan, it's out of their hands.
Hey, you got to deal with Klarna on that one, buddy. That's we're not a company anymore.
Yeah, we don't exist.
You call a firm and you tell them that those payments, they're just going into the garbage can.
Yeah. You got Moxie, though.
Yeah.
No repairs and service can be offered, and the company has no clear plan for who, if anybody, will take it over. Short of a miracle, customers will be stuck holding the bag. The response from Moxie owners seems fairly emotional. Parents have to explain to their kids, their autistic kids, that Moxie is functionally dying, although the company has included a letter from the GRL, Global Robotics Lab, to help guide this conversation in an age-appropriate way.
So they are going to learn something. They've even got a brochure.
There are videos on TikTok of children and adults crying and asking Moxie what's going to happen now.
Oh, Moxie can see his darkness.
Just get your kid a cat next time, my God.
Just eternal darkness, it's all I can see. Help! Moxie needs help! It's all black all around!
I would have lived forever, but we live in a capitalist society where unless your company continues to receive seed funding, the products that they make, they become completely obsolete. Oh, no!
All right, son, go shovel that last piece of dirt onto old Moxie's face.
It's getting so dark in here.
Oh boy. Anyways, poor Moxie. Anyways, it's time once again for us to check in on our American government. Right here in America, real quick.
Hey, that's my government.
Yeah, and it appears as though Republican Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina was violently assaulted on the Capitol grounds. Violently assaulted Elliot on the Capitol grounds because of her conservative views. And this has resulted in Nancy Mace appearing in a sling for her injury.
Yeah, she got fucked up.
Yeah, that's right.
The violent left fucked her up.
But
Got beat down.
But, Elliot, either Nancy Mace is so weak that a simple handshake was all it took to debilitate her, or she's hamming up an injury from cameras, for sympathy on social media, and to perpetuate a narrative that LGBTQ folks are violent, bloodthirsty thugs. And this is total conspiracy theory zone, or this all happened at the perfect time because it buries a story that was spreading earlier in the week about that time that Nancy Mace was filmed doing a shot of alcohol and then passing that shot of alcohol from her mouth into the mouth of another woman who then transfers that alcohol from her mouth into the mouth of another man.
Wait, the actual shot glass or just like the liquid?
The liquid.
Ew! Ew, that's disgusting.
No, pretty hot, right?
No, actually, that's gross, but it's also gay.
Well, also, it would be fine in general if, once again, it weren't for the fact that Nancy Mace, the one involved in this shot swapping, is actively and successfully working to dismantle the rights of people who are just trying to live their lives. Some in the way that she appeared to be enjoying herself on that night.
Oh, gayness for me, but not for me. Now that story is mostly relegated to its cat rares, but the video does indeed appear to show an inebriated Mace swapping some spit and alcohol with friends of both genders.
Yeah.
And it was popping back up in response to her Capitol Hill bathroom ban. But hypocrisy is part of the GOP game, so we all know that this won't matter to her constituents. But a pro-trans activist violently assaulting her and breaking her arm, oh baby.
Yeah.
Red meat. Give me the slap. That is definitely headline-worthy material, but it doesn't seem like that's what actually happened, according to witnesses, because, again, that was ridiculous. Has this person been using that, like, the grip trainers?
Like the one guy that shows up to the arm wrestling tournament?
Yeah.
Just has one gigantic arm.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Here's local CBS outlet WUSA. I was physically accosted tonight on Capitol grounds over my fight to protect women, Mace said on Instagram. According to court documents obtained by WUSA 9, McIntyre approached Mace as she was leaving an event. Mace held out her hand to greet the man with a handshake. That is when McIntyre allegedly grabbed her hand, clasping it between his two palms, and began to aggressively and in an exaggerated manner shake her arm up and down in a handshaking motion. Mace told police she tried to pull her hand away, but McIntyre held it in place. She then added that McIntyre said trans youth deserve advocacy.
A shocking statement.
Mace said nothing in reply, telling police she felt intimidated to pull away.
Crazy, because that's like kind of Donald Trump's handshake.
Yeah.
He fucking gets you in there.
Sounds like Nancy Mace was in the presence of an alpha.
Yeah. So
And
look,
she has fully conceded the floor. She is the beta.
yeah. But look, maybe the handshake was a bit rough, but it's kind of a stretch. And what's actually ridiculous about all of this is that it appears as though Nancy Mace might have a burner account on Twitter because she got caught replying to her own tweets about this issue as if she were someone else, someone not related to herself, Nancy Mace. In a move that is very reminiscent of the time a GOP politician got caught claiming to be a, quote, black gay guy without switching accounts.
I'm a black gay guy and Obama did nothing.
So yeah, that was 68-year-old Dean Browning who tweeted that phrase or that sentence. But in Nancy Mace's first post, she said, "Yes, I was physically accosted tonight. More to come." Someone asked what happened, and Mace replied, seemingly as if she were someone else, saying, "A pro-trans guy assaulted her," and followed a second inquiry up with, "She is in pain, but she will survive," as she always does.
Well, it could be like, oh, she's so fucked up from that brutal handshake that like her staff has had to take over the phone.
Yeah, that's the one excuse I can think of.
She's
but
catatonic.
the realistic thing is that she doesn't run either of her accounts.
Yeah.
The actual, I would say that's probably realistic. It's probably a staffer. I would say what's more realistic is that she runs her own account and she runs her staffers' accounts to act like she's like, oh, I'll just send that to my representatives.
Yeah. Did you, there's Nancy Mace's like former chief of staff is on Twitter and apparently like fucking hates her guts.
Oh yeah, no, that's while it was like funny or embarrassing for this to happen on Twitter, it was even more embarrassing when her former comms director chimed in about the photo and added, "This is the same woman who told staff, myself included, during January 6th, that she wanted to, quote, get punched in the face by a rioter so she could get on TV. She's full of shit, and her prop of a sling is a pathetic ploy for attention."
Yeah, and I even started to see a couple figures in conservative online media being just ignore. She's
come on.
See, Nancy Mace is she's just doing her thing.
Everyone's really trying to get on Trump's radar right now. They're like, "Look, sir, please, I was attacked by the violent mob. I'll do your bidding."
Yep, the clown show has come to town.
Yeah. What bone are you gonna break for your president?
Yeah. You a bad enough dude to dislocate your shoulder with
for sympathy?
Anyway, let's check in on Trump really quick because it appears as though he may have crapped himself.
Yeah.
Domination.
Duked in his pants.
We have our order.
Shit his pants. Yes, we are getting word that the president may have crapped his pants. And everyone's looking at him like they can smell it.
The lead is ours.
And I bet it smells terrible. Man eats McDonald's 3 meals a day.
Never drinks water.
Never drinks water.
Nope.
McDonald's Diet
Taking
Coke.
C.
How do you think that shit smells? Not good. They are grimacing their faces, holding their noses, refusing to sit anywhere near our stinky head of state, who has apparently just filled his diaper. Now, the clip we're talking about came from a recent visit to Notre Dame in Paris, which was finally reopened after that catastrophic fire that destroyed the cathedral a few years back. It's back, folks.
Yeah.
In the footage, which is real, but no one is confirming whether or not he did actually soil himself. In the footage, people can be seen having a physical reaction to his presence. And he has been rumored to shit and fart his pants constantly because he is old and he eats nothing but processed food all day. Either way, he's definitely got a smell. The fact that it's so pungent inside of a religious place should probably tell you something. Yeah, so pure.
Some would say. Yeah, man. I'll never believe this until I see shit running out of his pant leg. But it is noticeable in this clip that people are looking over, and maybe they're just disgusted in general. But
I think they just find him disgusting.
They look over and they're like, ooh! And it really does appear as though he's sitting alone and kind of looks weirded out. It's just a funny image. But with Trump's inauguration just over a month away, the guest list is being filled out. The talent is being booked. And some invitations are going to recipients that you might not expect. For instance, Chinese President Xi Jinping, which is just an incredibly odd pick for Trump to invite to the United States for the inauguration of a president. Especially considering major world leaders are not typically invited to the inauguration.
Not for them.
Usually only representatives will attend for that country, and that's even if they do it all. So yes, it is a little strange seeing Trump's guest list featuring names like Xi Jinping and Viktor Orban. But hey, that's what you people wanted. That's what you wanted. This is what you're going to get. Here's CBS News with more. President-elect Donald Trump has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. Multiple sources told CBS News. And inauguration officials are making plans for additional foreign dignitaries to attend the swearing-in ceremony. Trump invited Xi in early November, shortly after the election, sources said. But it was not clear whether he has accepted the invitation.
I don't think he's.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be.
He's probably busy with other things.
Yeah, I'm busy. How can we tell Mr. Trump in a nice way that we're not going to be able to attend?
You invited the popular girl to your birthday. She's washing her hair that night. Sorry. Transition spokesperson Caroline Leavitt told CBS News on Thursday that Trump invited Xi to the inauguration. She told Fox News on Thursday that it is an example of Trump creating an open dialogue with leaders of countries that are not just our allies, but our adversaries and our competitors, too. Well, what about Kim Jong-un? Yeah. In addition to Xi, the president-elect's team has raised the possibility of hosting other leaders at the Capitol on January 20th. Hungary's far-right leader, Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who has a warm relationship with Trump and visited him at Mar-a-Lago this week, is still considering whether to attend, according to a source familiar with Orban's plans. And they add that ambassadors and other diplomats are typically invited to inaugurations, but State Department records dating back to 1874 show that a foreign leader has never attended a transfer of power ceremony. We're going to change that.
It is just so wild, so blatantly obvious that like when Trump does something like this, it's like, what? He invited an adversary to the inauguration. What's the big deal?
Yeah, Joe Biden just wants more, but Trump is trying to do good. I mean, yes, he's been constantly shit talking, and his party is like banging the drum of like Cold War constantly. We invited him to his party, so that's very statesmanlike of him.
Usually we just send we just sent like two others. Oh God. Well, I guess a fruitcake will have to do. There you go. Anyways, a little bit of good news on the way out for you today. Current President Joe Biden has finally started pardoning and commuting the sentences of other people, and not just his son Hunter.
Oh, good.
Yeah. This is actually great news because on Thursday of this week, President Biden commuted the sentences of around 1,500 people and pardoned 39. These people were all convicted of non-violent crimes, and they were mostly serving their sentences from home after being relocated out of prison during the coronavirus pandemic. There's more. Here's the New York Times. Mr. Biden's action was one of the biggest grants of clemency in modern American history. President Jimmy Carter, on his first full day in office in 1977, issued a pardon that affected more people than men who were dated to Vietnam War. But that was what is known as a categorical pardon. Mr. Biden's commutations are for America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances, Mr. Biden said in a statement. He said the clemency represented his commitment to help reunite families, strengthen communities, and reintegrate individuals back into society.
The announcement came 2 weeks after Mr. Biden issued a pardon for his son Hunter, who had been convicted of gun possession and pleaded guilty to income tax evasion. That decision was harshly criticized by both Republicans and Democrats because the president had long ruled out clemency for his son. Mr. Biden has come under increasing pressure to use his clemency powers before he hands over power to President-elect Donald J. Trump. As a senator, Mr. Biden had championed a 1994 crime bill that many experts say fueled mass incarceration. He has since expressed regret for his support of the legislation, and he committed during the 2020 campaign to addressing the long drug sentences that resulted. Some congressional Democrats and others have also called on Mr. Biden to reduce the sentences of all 40 people on federal death row to life without parole. Mr. Trump supports the death penalty and restarted federal executions after a nearly 20-year pause during his first term.
So yeah, how much more Biden can do?
They need to do a lot. I don't get it. Do something fucking cool.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for the news today. We will be back for some weird news in the next episode. But in the meantime, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, if you're watching this, there's
right when
like
it
an
drops,
hour.
yeah, you got you somehow like, what? What is that? They make dolls? Well, buddy,
it's too late, probably.
Yeah, probably.
If you're watching this in the morning on Friday, there is still time. If you're watching it in the afternoon on Friday,
sorry.
Check the website, but good luck.
Yeah, it's gone.
And once it's gone, it's gone. Not coming back, baby. So check those out. There is a link in the description below. We really appreciate everyone that has bought one. It means a lot. We've seen all of you posting your checkout notices and everything. It's very cool to see you buying. So thank you so much. Our only other request? Press the like button on the video. It's right there.
Come on.
Scroll up, scroll down, do whatever you gotta do. Click that like button. It really does help our channel out. Leave a comment, discuss anything we talked about today in the comment section below. And now, popping up over here, we got 2 more videos for you to watch. They're both about Italian-American Luigi Mangione. So check both of those out, and we'll see you soon for some weird news.
As a Greek, a certified Alexandrite Greek man, I just want to say to you all that what they tell you about the Ottoman Empire and the Turks is not true. It is not true. We were well protected under the Turkish rule. We were willing and happy dhimmis, and we really like to pay the jizya. All that we had to do in exchange for the protection of the Ottoman Empire was give up our firstborn son to become a janissary. Now, his balls may have been chopped off, but at the end of the day, that is a small price to pay for the great benefits and protection that we were given by the Turks. As a Greek, I am calling for the complete recolonization of all of Greece by Turkey and the beginning, again, the rebirth of the Ottoman Empire. Now, I am a Greek. I'm allowed to say this because I'm Greek. And because my identity is Greek, that makes what I'm saying correct. Just like John Aziz when he posts as a Palestinian for the 2000th time. Or probably more than that. I want to pay jizya. I want my other Greeks to pay jizya too. I want to be a dhimmi. There's actually a trend that you guys might have heard of among Christians on TikTok. It's called dhimmi maxing. Okay, it might not be a trend yet, but I plan to get it going. It's when you are really enthusiastic about being conquered by Islamists and living under an Islamic State rule, and you really want to be a dhimmi, and you really want to pay jizya, and you really want them to behead you if you don't pay, or you really want to be forcibly converted. It's not a sex thing. It's not a sex thing. Now, you might say, bad empanada, you're making this up. Dhimmi maxing does not exist. And you're correct, I'm making it up. Dhimmi maxing does not exist. But some people will see this, and they'll like post dhimmi maxing TikToks as a joke, right? In response to this. And then some other people will see that, and they won't get that it's a joke. And they'll start posting like edits to like Little Dark Age, dhimmi maxing edits to Little Dark Age about how they want to like return with a V instead of a U to the age of like being a dhimmi under the Ottoman Empire and paying the jizya. So I am as a Greek man, I am calling for a new trend called dhimmi maxing. My goal is to eventually see a headline in mainstream media regarding this trend that I am starting. I want to see a headline like this. This is my end goal here of starting the dhimmi maxing trend, is to one day see a headline like this one. New dhimmi maxing trend, all the rage among TikTok youth. Gen Z Christians desperate to live under Muslim rule, pay mandatory tax or be beheaded. I want to see a headline just like that. That's my goal. I want this dhimmi maxing psyop that I am hereby beginning to like be taken seriously to the point that like it gets an article on like CNBC or MSN or whatever the fuck. It's not a sex thing. Don't you dare accuse me of it being a sex thing. As a Greek, I am calling for everyone, every Greek, every Christian, everyone in the world to begin dhimmi maxing immediately in preparation for the coming Muslim takeover for the Ummah. Thank you very much. May your jizya be paid. May your children be janissaried.
Team deathmatch. Neutralize all threats.
have said, this is the most wonderful time of the year. And why wouldn't it be? It's officially Sinmas, baby. That's right. Today marks the first day of the 3rd annual 12 Days of Sinmas. In case you're unaware, the 12 Days of Sinmas is a yearly tradition where I upload 12 videos in the 12 days leading up to Christmas. And my gift to you for day 1 of the 12 Days of Sinmas is an apron. Time to get back in the kitchen, bitch. After you checked out my limited edition 12 Days of Sinmas collection at hellosinners.com, available until December 24th at 11:59 p.m. PST. That's hellosinners.com. All right. Besides a shameless merch plug, there is no better way to ring in the Sinmas season than by visiting my old friends at Truly. I would consider Truly YouTube's version of TLC, if that tells you anything. Last time, we followed a traditional couple where the husband gave his wife homework as a form of punishment. I'm still perplexed to this day. We're about to check out another traditional couple, only this time the husband pays his wife $100 a week to be the homemaker. Right off the bat, Queen, you are absolutely undercharging. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of work that goes into being a stay-at-home spouse, much less a stay-at-home parent. Oh my God. You're basically working like 6 jobs and you can never clock out. Woo! As unappealing as the traditional lifestyle is for me, I do have a lot of respect for all the stay-at-home partners holding down the household. And if it's an arrangement that works well in your relationship, more power to you. Though I'm definitely not afraid to critique the lifestyle, and I'll be doing a lot of that today. That being said, let's see what Truly has in store for us. Truly. See, I get why they named it that. Clever.
My husband employs me to take care of the home, and I encourage other women to pursue the same dynamic for their future financial success.
So he employs you, but you only make quote unquote $100 a week. I think teenagers at like McDonald's make more than you. Bestie, you need to know your work. Your work in the household is invaluable. You deserve at least $1,000 a week.
Didn't even know I wanted a traditional relationship where there were gender separations.
I earn more now
$100 a day
married than I did when I was in the military, and it's the best job I've ever had. There are feminists on Reddit who hate me, most of which are single over the age of 30.
Hi, feminist here. I would like to chime in. I am not single and I'm only 26. So, care to explain that? Why do feminists hate you, ma'am? I'm pretty sure this woman is an influencer, so it's like, technically you're not a stay-at-home wife. You just work from home, and you also happen to be a homemaker. You have 2 full-time jobs. Yep, she's an influencer. Want to destroy a family? Here's how. How do we destroy a family?
Here are 3 ways you can make sure that you hate being a mom. That way,
okay, I'm obsessed with the zoom-ins.
You can complain about it online and scare other women who don't even have children yet from ever experiencing the joys that you experience intermittently but deny publicly. Number 1, work a 40-hour work week to a thankless boss. That way, if push comes to shove and they want to replace you tomorrow, they absolutely do, and then you'll be further stressed with that burden on top of motherhood.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how controversial I want to get off the bat. Keep in mind, I am a lesbian. I've never been in a long-term relationship with a man. So take what I say with a grain of salt. These trad influencers want to say that, you know, being a stay-at-home parent, being a stay-at-home wife is the best thing that's ever happened to them. It's all they want. It's God's calling for them. But a lot of them
The Tabernacle put a really good video out about this, making the point that when the man supports the woman completely and the woman stay at home, he dictates their life. He wants a divorce, it's over. I know in Cavernacle's video, he showed a woman who was posting, who was a Mormon and was divorced from her husband divorced her, and she dropped out of college to start a family, to do that, and she has like no skills and she's struggling. So this whole so much better just to stay home and take care of my husband. Well, what if the husband's gone? What if he kicks you out? And you've got nothing. What if you're in your 30s or 40s and you don't have any job experience, no schooling? I mean, you would obviously, I mean, 30 and 40 would be a little on the older end for being a stay-home mom, I suppose. But if you're pushing 30 and like you don't have any job experience, it's hard out there. You get cut off, you're gonna have a hard time. It's not gonna be. It's all a lie. This whole patriarchy, you're supposed to get married. Dog shit. Take care of yourself. Nuclear family is poison. Love yourself, love your friends. Love people who love you.
Tend to self-report. I have seen countless videos of trad wives and even trad husbands who admit that the man does not put a lot of work into the household, if at all. Like a lot of the time, it's the woman who is doing most of the homemaking, most of the child rearing, cooking, cleaning, you name it, and the man is not contributing to any of it because it's not his job, it's not his role, it's not his purpose, even though he is also a fully grown adult living in that house and his children and the home is also his responsibility. And the way they describe the average traditional dynamic is just not appealing to me. It seems like hell. There's a reason why antidepressant usage was sky high in the 50s among housewives. Like, none of you make it sound appealing. And it's like, yeah, working a full-time job for 40 hours a week isn't appealing. I don't think most of us dream of labor, but that sounds a lot better to me than taking care of a man-child for 168 hours a week who refuses to pull his weight in the household. I don't know, that's just me. It works for some people. Clearly, I am not the target demographic. It's feminism though, right? God forbid feminists let women know that their purpose isn't to just be barefoot and pregnant. Before we continue, I'd like to thank Book of the Month, who are kindly sponsoring today's video. As someone who's chronically online for a living, I value my offline hobbies very much.
They called me a white.
Our friend just.
Whoa. I highly doubt you're being called a white supremacist just for being a quote-unquote traditional husband. Like, what's really going on here? And also, I didn't point this out earlier, but she says that the people who hate on her on Reddit, the feminists, are all over 30 and single. And like, why is that viewed as a bad thing? Why is proximity to a man indicative of a woman's...
Oh, by the way, if any women or NBs 30 and over and single, holler at me. Thank you.
worth. She's phrasing it as if these feminists can't find a suitable partner. What if they choose to be single? A lot of people are doing that nowadays. You know, people aren't giving into the pressure that you need to get married and have kids before you're 25, before your frontal lobe even develops. There are some people who still seek that lifestyle, and you know what? Good for them, but that's not what everyone wants. Yeah, I don't know why single is being used as a derogatory statement there. Also, being older than 30 isn't a bad thing either.
Single is code for happy with no children. Thank you.
Not the insult you think it is.
Our friend is coming over to get to the bottom of what his opinion of our relationship is.
I don't view marriage as an economic relationship. That's just not how I would ever choose to describe it.
First of all, love his t-shirt. Not the point. Anyway.
It's a spiritual relationship.
Yeah, I find it weird when people view a romantic relationship as just a business transaction. Viewing it from a business standpoint, I agree with the guy with the fun t-shirt. Like, there's more to a relationship than what material possessions or money you provide for the other person. Sure, that's important. You know, it's important to be able to take care of your partner in many different ways, but like that shouldn't be the sole focus of it either. It's like, how do you make each other feel? Do you make each other feel valued, loved, respected? I think that's also just as, if not more important.
We were at the same work for a while, and I ended up becoming single, and I thought he was very attractive. So I shot my shot, and apparently it landed because now I'm married and I have a baby on the way.
We've been together for like 2.5 years.
So we were engaged, and I was going to school. I was also working, but I thought that he was wanting a little bit more attention to the house, to the home, and also, you know, to himself. So I had a sneaking suspicion that it might benefit our relationship if I stayed home.
I have a lot to say. I think dropping out of school for a partner is a red flag. Period. I understand school's not for everyone, and there are many reasons why one would drop out. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, life takes us in different directions. Our interests and desires change as we get older. But Alyssa specifically said that the reason why she dropped out is so that she could take care of him, so that she could be a homemaker for him. I don't know, something about that just rubs me the wrong way. And it's like you weren't even married at this point, so you didn't even have like a legal cushion to fall back on, just in case if things go south. I'm glad it worked out. Of course, I hope they have a healthy and successful relationship. Like, it's her choice, and other factors could have gone into this decision, but I don't think it's wise to drop a career or your education for a partner. Unless it's like excruciating circumstances, like if they're sick or something. But like, oh my god, like quitting just so you can pick up after a man is wild to me. I'm sorry.
I didn't even know I wanted a traditional relationship. I, honest to God, thought that I wanted a physicist triathlete. So until I got into a relationship with Allie, I didn't even know how wonderful having a traditional relationship where there were gender separations.
I didn't realize how wonderful it would be to have this woman clean up after me like I was a toddler. I don't know, last time I checked, being a man doesn't mean you can opt out of contributing to the household. You're contributing financially, and that's great, but what are you doing beyond that? Like, are you still taking things off your wife's plate to make her life a little easier at home? I guess we'll see.
Was that if I sucked at being a homemaker, that I would go back to work, but I did not suck. I wouldn't say I'm a feminist at all. I think that feminism was all bad. Men love women so much that they would have liberated us after they were fully liberated anyway.
Yeah, okay, girl. You are lying through your teeth. No, I don't think men would have liberated us. If anything, it seems like we're going backward, especially after this election. Conservatism is on the rise. I see endless discourse about repealing the 19th Amendment on Twitter. And of course, the wackadoos on Twitter don't represent the general population, but a lot of this discussion is coming from Gen Z. And it's scary to see how young men and young women in particular are moving backwards. They're going back to the traditional lifestyle that, you know, is notorious for oppressing women. Like, how are millennials more progressive than us? And that's no diss to millennials. I just hate how we as a society are taking a step back. And now teenage boys and young men are being indoctrinated by people like Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit. And they're gonna grow up to be these raging misogynists who think they're owed a woman, who think they're owed a traditional relationship. I don't know, it's scary to see. Like I said, if you want to pursue this kind of relationship with your partner, that is totally fine, but the choice should be there. And while Allie claimed that she chose this lifestyle, I just think the way it went about screams red flag to me.
I am just of the opinion that feminism was completely unnecessary and that it's a female supremacy movement.
But if it weren't for feminism, you wouldn't have been able to choose to step away from your education because you would have just been forced to be a homemaker. It is because of feminism that you were able to make that decision. Feminism is why you're able to vote. Feminism is why you're allowed to have a public platform on social media. Feminism is why you're able to speak for yourself on camera. Don't get me wrong, I do think there are very valid critiques when it comes to feminism, specifically radical feminism, but she believes feminism as a whole is bad. Or female supremacy movement is what you said. Feminism is not female supremacy. It should be an intersectional movement. And it seems like we're going very backwards. She really said trees for deforestation, but the leopard would never eat her face, right?
So I do most of the cooking and cleaning. I do most of the laundry as well. He works for a long time. Sometimes it's 10 hours a day. So I just take care of the house while he's gone.
Could have been me. I think it's awesome that she's willing to take things off her husband's plate while he works. But like, there's been so many red flags so far, and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I earn more now married than I did when I was in the military, and it's the best job I've ever had. I would probably be considered on his bankroll. He pays for my living. There's a health insurance plan.
I basically said, hey, look, how much money do you need per week to do fun things? She said, I need $100 for my snacks and my coffee. And okay, we got rid of all the credit cards. We opened up new credit cards under my account. And so now I can see all of her purchases. And she's very disciplined.
And there it is, folks. Okay, we have a lot to unpack here. It seems like she enjoys a traditional lifestyle. Great. And since we're working in this dynamic, you know, it's good to see that he's stepping up in his role as the provider. But are you really making money if you don't have control over any of your finances? Canceling all your credit cards so you can bring her under your account is wild to me, though. This might be controversial, but you shouldn't be fully financially dependent on your partner. You need to have a way out. And if you don't have a bank account or a credit card to your name, you know, God forbid it goes south, it's going to be really hard to find a way out. I think joint accounts can make sense in a relationship. Like, you have your own separate accounts, but you also have a joint account for bills, the mortgage, vacation funds, emergencies. I think that makes sense. But you should also have some money in your own name. It's just looking out for yourself. And although she seems happy, like I said, I hate that she's promoting this lifestyle, saying that she's making money. But the difference between Allie and a regular housewife is that she's an influencer, and I assume she's making money off of that. Like, you could still make some decent money with 200,000 subscribers. So Allie would have something to fall back on. She has that extra income. Granted, it goes to their joint account, and he ultimately has control over it, but she's still making money. And this bothers me because 99% of the people that are watching her aren't influencers. They don't have an influencer career as a backup. And in my opinion, it's really dangerous to hand over complete control of your bank accounts to your partner. I don't care what the genders are in this case. It would be toxic if it was a woman taking control of the man's finances. It would be a problem if it was in a gay relationship. Like, ultimately, it's not safe.
I don't want to drain my husband. I know some wives, they don't have a conscience with that, but I would prefer if I never had to look at a screen about dollars ever.
Honestly, that's valid. Anything with finances and numbers makes my head spin. Math was not my subject in school. It wasn't until like high school, maybe. Geometry kicked my ass. Not the point, though. But that doesn't mean you should just cancel all of your credit cards and go under his. You should still have at least a little bit to your name. Why are you promoting this to women? Feminism is bad, but this is fine?
Today I'm going shopping, obviously, on Tom's dime.
She really doesn't ask for a whole lot of stuff that she doesn't need. She's pretty financially disciplined.
The alternative is going to an actual job with an actual boss. Keep in mind, that's a man that doesn't care about you.
I love how she assumes the boss is a man. Talking shit about having a job when she technically does have a job. She's an influencer. She makes digital content, and she's most likely making money off that digital content. That's crazy work.
You clock in, you clock out, you're not on his mind, he would fire you tomorrow. My husband is not going to fire me tomorrow. I think that it's much more romantic than that, but if we have to call it labor,
This lady
it's not the worst job out there.
totally thinks
Like
she's
I said,
cooking, man.
You can be in a traditional relationship if you want. It's your life, and I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I don't see how this wouldn't form an unhealthy power dynamic between them. Like, yeah, she can ask him to take her out shopping. She can ask him for spending money, for fun money, but at the end of the day, all the financial decisions are on him because all of the finances are in his name.
I haven't received anything but positive feedback from my friends.
They're probably high-fiving you, you know?
Okay, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, there is a lot of that, right? Because all my buddies are in their late 40s, early 50s like myself, and they're like, damn, dude, you got a 27-year-old? I'm like,
I wasn't planning on getting into age gap discourse today, but God works in mysterious ways. I've said in past videos, I don't have a problem with age gap relationships if the younger person is above 25 when they meet. Just because 25 is when your frontal lobe is developed and you're able to make decisions. But the way he talks about, like, oh, look at me, I scored a 27-year-old wife is so objectifying. She's pretty much a trophy wife. How many red flags are we at? Can we do a red flag tally?
There's been controversy surrounding the age gap. I am 28 years old.
I'm 51.
I think my mom was really worried I was wondering, how did you really feel?
He's almost 30. In my opinion, if you're 30, you should be able to date him.
You can tell us what you really thought.
I didn't think it was gonna go. I thought it was just, you know.
I don't know how old my mom is, but she has incredible
Maybe that's
skin.
just me. Is
like
that
the two
weird?
Picasso sisters, honestly.
Like if you're 30, you should be able to date like a 90-year-old.
Oh, it's either way. You know, I couldn't.
How do you feel about me spreading my messages online?
They're a little controversial, but I don't like the comments that some people make. I would just want to go in there and go,
I mean, it's to be expected. Parents are naturally protective and defensive over their children. I know my parents feel the same way when I tell them about some of the comments I've gotten. She's surely controversial, though. I will agree on that.
Online, I would say that I get the most judgment because I'm a content creator. A woman wanting to work is very
Why are
different
male
than a
sexual
woman.
appetites suppressed? If you're a feminist at this point in time, you're a clown, right?
Call me Boo Boo the Fool, I guess. Honka honka.
There's a lot of assumptions, right? I do this for a brand. I do this because I'm uneducated. I do this because I'm lazy. And then, you know, there's that fun racial element. My favorite racial joke that I've gotten was lady in the streets colonized in the sheets. I thought that was really creative.
Once you post something to the public, it's in their hands now. On the same token, though, some of the comments can be fucking brutal, and I don't think she deserves harassment. Critiques, yes, none of us are above criticism. But sometimes those anonymous keyboard warriors aren't the nicest.
They also called me a white and I was like, okay, I'm dating a Latina woman and I'm a white
If it's true, if he's being called a white supremacist solely for dating a Latino woman, then yeah, I also think that's dumb. I would agree with him. When you go so far left and now you're on the right, politics is a circle. Oh, I love where I paused. The wage gap is a myth.
I just want women to know that they have other options out there.
She's gonna
And you know
make
why
a
we
super
have those
turn one of these
options?
days.
Say
Probably
it with
after
me,
she has the
y'all.
kid.
Feminism. You have the option to stay home because of the women who came before you to fight for those rights. How are you not seeing the irony in this? Like, you were able to join the military because of feminism, and you were able to leave the military because of feminism. But as a quick side note, let's see what the people of Reddit are saying about her. Okay, here's something from a couple years ago from r/FundySnark Uncensored. Shout out to my besties over there. I love the subreddit. Marry a Dangerous Man. So this is from her blog, and the title is Marry a Dangerous Man. Maybe don't. Oh, I love this. PSA, I will be doubling down on my takes. Before I had humble doubts about my views. After childbirth,
Yeah, don't marry a dangerous man. Don't marry a dangerous woman. Don't marry a dangerous non-binary person. Just don't marry someone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely do not. Surrogacy is evil, the left is degenerate, and the single and childless are delusional. If you thought I was insufferable before, welcome to Alley 2.0.
As a childless person myself. Oh, all right. Who's watching? Nobody. If anyone who's young happens to watch this, let me tell you something. Not having kids is a great idea. They're like, well, when you're old, you know, because like a lot of my family, like extended family, are basically like fucking hoarders. And like I remember, and like I had recently like sold my family home and all the stuff in it and just split. And but he was all like, you'll regret it. And this dude, this is like my uncle, and like he's like, say I'm gonna regret getting rid of all this shit. This dude's like a hoarder. He's got like so much shit, and like when he's gone, like his kids are gonna have to deal with it. He's like multiple garages filled to the rim with just stuff. That's insane. And to me, that's pretty close to like, I'm gonna have 10 kids. It's gonna be the greatest thing, the greatest gift on earth. Every one of these special little angels, and it's just like that's not true. Especially nowadays in America, you can barely afford to take care of yourself. and then they're like, and then they want you to have 1 trillion kids. Out of here. Can't even like afford a home, and they're gonna try to fucking guilt you into fucking spawning my dick.
You started it. Enemy stunned.
I know. I love the title. Becoming a mother didn't make Allie Drummond any less of a twat. So she thinks that single and child-free people are delusional. Let's explore the latter for a second. How about people who aren't child-free by choice? The people who do want to have kids, but they're physically unable to, that don't even have the opportunity to become a parent. Does that make them delusional? There are
No, it
so
makes
many
them
reasons
bullet
why
dodgers.
people don't want to have children, and really, it's no one's business. And you know what? I could sit here and say people who choose to have kids.
Honestly, I don't have any like understanding or like any kind of like sympathy for people that I just want to have kids. I'm unable to have kids and this is bad. It's like, dude, fuck kids. We're living in the future. We're not living in the past. It is 20. I had to look at my calendar to see what year it is. I almost said 2025. Getting close though. 2024. Why are we trying to live like it's Beaver 1950s? Make America great again? It's dog shit. We are so far past this. It's suicide. This whole idea of like the family should be the center of everything is extinction for humanity. We need to adapt to changing conditions, new technologies, new problems we have to deal with as a species collectively. You know what's not going to help that? Starting families having a bunch of fucking kids. And anyone who says it like that's like having like a anyone who even advocates that like as a good idea is a fucking psychopath, ideologue, weirdo, and should be mocked, tarred, feathered, and chased out of town.
They don't really like her delusional.
Sometimes I feel like accused of being a gold digger.
She asked for $100 a week. What kind of gold digger wants that?
And that's the problem. You shouldn't have to ask to have access to your money. Like, what's not clicking? Not that your spouse shouldn't have a say in the household's finances. If anything, I do think they should, but it should be even. And having all the money under your name is controlling. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of positive comments from women who feel like they've finally been seen. It's the positive comments that I get from women in that context that really let me know that I'm doing the right thing.
She's just one of many trad wife influencers who doesn't practice what she preaches to a certain degree. How are you going to discourage women from getting a job when you yourself have a job? You're a content creator. Women like Allie B. Stuckey and Candace Owens preach the same thing. Meanwhile, they run businesses and entire YouTube channels. It's really the epitome of do as I say, not as I do.
I know that she has a YouTube channel and that it's pretty successful. From what I understand, she sells the idea that you don't necessarily have to be a professional, that it's okay to be a housewife.
And she's also saying that feminism is bad and career women are delusional. They're all 30-something-year-olds that are single and childless. That sounds good to me. That sounds like heaven. Except the single part. I do love my girlfriend.
Here's what I think. Hey, here's my offer. I will provide you a home, a house, protection, and provision. What I ask for in return is support, a clean house, so that I can go out in the world and focus on the external world.
I just think that it's the right thing to do to give you a return on investment. If you have to put it in economic terms, fine, but it's just doing the right thing in a marriage. You take care of me, I take care of you.
What are we doing? If I didn't know any better, I would assume they're talking about like trading stocks or something, talking about the shareholders of their company. I don't know. Is love dead? There's nothing more romantic than talking about your relationship in business terms.
It's a good bankroll to be on.
I don't view marriage as an economic relationship. I know that you can analyze it that way.
Just to clarify, how I described it, that's an economic mode.
Yeah, that's an economic way of describing it.
Because I didn't know that I was describing it.
No, it is.
There is an economic relationship there. That's just not how I would ever choose to describe it. You make a commitment to that other person.
Right.
I mean, that's why marriage exists, is to create literal economic relationships between families. Not so, I mean, at least when it was first created. But like, we don't live like that anymore, and we should. Marriage isn't even necessary. People should just like be with who they want to be with, even if it's like not like, even if they're poly, if they're, you know, traditional relationships are outdated, and is not going to help our species. Sorry.
Right? So that commitment isn't about like, I'm gonna do XYZ in exchange for ABC. You're gonna miss the big picture.
He's kind of eating them up. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't born yesterday. I know there's financial aspects to every relationship, especially when you're married and you live under the same roof and all that jazz. It's just so robotic the way they talk about their relationship. It's like, are you business partners or husband and wife? But I'm just a delusional feminist because I refuse to give up my financial freedom for $100 a week and to pick up after a man.
I've only ever really used.
You said a week. I thought it was a month.
Because, like, literally, women would rather.
No, I think maybe it was a week because that's still fucking insane.
The leadership of an employer that doesn't care about them, and if you were to tell them that they could depend on a good man financially, they just would rather stay at that job instead of having to cooperate.
This just in, people have different life goals. As if there aren't thousands of career women who are also family women. You can't do both. No, no, no. And she's certainly not doing both. It doesn't count if it's online. What an insult to all the working moms out there, the single working moms out there. A lot of families rely on 2 incomes to keep a roof over their head, food on the table, clothes on their back. It's expensive nowadays. Not everyone has a partner with a 6-figure job. She's just so out of touch with the average person. You're lucky that you're able to survive, to thrive under 1 income.
I'm trying to save these women. So these ungrateful women.
Save these women, save these ungrateful women from what? A life of servitude and submission to a man? That sounds like hell. It's fine if you're into that, but the way Allie's wording it, she doesn't want women to have a say.
I boil it down to biology.
Very nice,
You're
Marshall.
never going to take
I'm
away the
impressed.
genetics and the biology of it. Because I am in my masculine and I'm able to go out and provide the resources, I feel great.
I didn't realize that the higher your testosterone levels are, the less likely you're able to fold a towel, or put a dish in the dishwasher, or vacuum your bedroom. We're just learning a bunch of new things today. It's important to learn every day. Life is a lesson.
I think most modern relationships are unhappy. I think men act like women. I think women act like men. And when they get...
As they should. If you want, of course. It seems like she hates individuality. There are, like, what, 8 billion people on this planet? You think we're all wired the same? Humans have things in common with each other, obviously. But we're also complex beings with the ability to think for ourselves. And it's not crazy to think that 8 billion people want to do 8 billion different things in life.
They have a really unbalanced dynamic. I think the entire culture that we have right now in America wants you to be single, fat, depressed, and childless. So if
Is this a put her finger down challenge? Because I could put my finger down for at least 2 of those. How is it that both partners contributing to the household is a more unhealthy dynamic than one person controlling all of the finances? Tell me, how is that better? So if I have a traditional husband, that means I have to ask him permission to spend money and also pick up after him? Sign me up. And I know it's not the case for every traditional relationship. There's a spectrum to everything. I think a lot of couples, especially heterosexual couples, are traditional to a certain degree. But people, especially women, now have the ability to pick and choose how traditional they want to be. And why is that? I'll let you fill in the blank. But I'm very curious to hear what you have to say on the matter. I know trad wives are like the hot topic right now, so leave any and all your thoughts down below. If there's any other trad wife content you think I should talk about, let me know down below as well. And in general, if there's any video idea you want to see from me, I have a Google form in the description where you could submit them. But thank you so much for joining me for the first day of the 12 days of Sinmas. I have some fun stuff planned, and I'm really excited to show it to you. We're gonna end the year strong, sinners. But if you like this video, make sure to give it a tiny, tiny thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring. Remember, code Tinsel at checkout at bookofthemonth.com. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2. Bye.
wait, before we get into the video, we're doing a subathon right now on twitch.tv, live right now, all in order to raise money for a new production barn so we can do more sets, more puppets, bigger stuff. We're live. After you watch this, go watch, support the Barnathon. Twitch.com/MeatCanyon. Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about freaks. Or as we like to call people nowadays, TikTokers or people on Instagram Reels. But before you had entertainment at the little tips of your fingers, we had a little thing in the world called freak shows. That's right. I mean, people I think take for granted how easy it is to see all of the abhorrent, terrible people, not even disfigured, just terrible people out there in the world, right? TikTok, Jack Doherty, that guy who messes with tourists overseas, Johnny Somali. We take for granted how crazy it is that at any time you can watch, I'll give you a link to this. I watched a guy on Instagram Reels the other day. He pulled out his tooth with a wrench. He has 4 teeth left in his mouth. Horrible. You would pay money for that at a freak show because back in the day, people actively looked for these things. People wanted to have some kind of weird attraction, some kind of crazy phenomenon they could see, something to break up the mundane nature of their day-to-day life. And that's where the freak shows came in. So today I wanted to go down the dark alleys of the freak show, really see what made people tick back in the day. Because I gotta tell you, if it's anything like, it's gotta be, there's no way it can be as worse as today, but we can at least see. So let's talk about the earliest freak shows, right? It feels weird too. A lot of this is just like obese men. They're like, what a freak. You have to pay a ticket to like watch a guy like eat a cupcake. They're like, oh,
He's 250 pounds.
he's 250 pounds since the Great Depression. How does he do that? You fat f. The concept of freak shows really began as early as the 1500s. These deformities used to be seen as a curse or an indicator of evil spirits, but eventually turned into public curiosity. So I like how back in the day, they're just like a woman with like maybe some facial hair, and they're just like, oh my God, this goddamn deep.
Hold on. I hear. Okay. I hear you too. Oh, all right. How are you? All right. Yeah. Pretty good. I had the plumber out again, my favorite guy. We've been having a couple just toilet issues, just minor. They were flushing, they were functional, but both things happened around the same time, and I've been just waiting for this part to come for like weeks, and I gave up on it because I don't know what the fuck was going on. But anyway, one toilet was weird. It was like you flush it, and then it like kind of, when it's refilling, it's like stop and start. It's kind of weird. It was making a noise. It wasn't doing it right. I don't know how to explain it. And the other toilet was doing what I looked up online is known as a phantom flush. So you'd be nowhere near the bathroom and walk by and hear it kind of flush itself, sort of like a half, like a kind of a quarter flush, not a full on, you know. Yeah. 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 Well, say something involved with the refill pump, or I don't know. And I was fucking around with it, trying to fix it. Now I got, one of the things I could have fixed probably, if the part had ever come, I would have just replaced it all. I've done it before, but it was like just saying it wasn't available on Amazon. It was delayed and crap, and I was like, okay. It's been going on for like a month, so I'm just like, fuck it. Now I got 2 fucking toilet issues, so I'm just gonna call the plumber and let an expert do it, rather than just keep being annoyed by this. Well, I mean, they were both working, you know what I mean, but they're just being weird. No, they're both. Yeah, that's an emergency. Yeah, that's an emergency. For sure.
on the way.
Yeah. But he got it done, and all's good now. Ah, fuck. Other than that, be on a writing done shit, but how was your day?
We're winning. Keep it that way.
Hit play. Yeah. Hit play and let it go.
Deploying RCXD.
Losing Bravo.
Capture it. Protect my 6.
Taking A. We lost B. We're losing Charlie.
Securing.
Zone Alpha captured.
Located Tango.
There you go.
Losing A.
Sounds like your cat's been giving you health, and maybe you can make up some
Bravo is ours.
sleep time.
Securing
Oh, no.
Zone A.
Yeah.
Losing B. Location secure. Maintain current posture. Losing Charlie.
Five enemies deleted. This objective's mine. Try me. Beginning capture. Hellstorm ready to launch.
I hope your kitty's okay.
Losing Bravo.
RCXD maneuvering.
Losing B.
Yeah, I found my dog in the backyard eating something weird. I'm like, what the hell you got? Because she was, whenever he disappears in the backyard for like more than like, a minute, I'm like, something's going on. What do you? She comes back and she's got something. Yeah, something's cooking. Yeah. Well, I don't know. She dropped it and I picked it up, and it looks like it was some kind of plant, or like, I don't know if it was a piece of I don't know. It looked like it could have been part of a rotten pineapple, or I don't know, some kind of fruit or vegetable thing. And I'm like, what the fuck? So anyway, she dropped it, but then I'm like all paranoid, like, did you eat some of this fucking gross thing? So far so good. Didn't blow up, but I hate that, because yeah. He'll get into
They're
anything.
taking C.
Mission timeline. UAV RTB.
We've lost Alpha. We're losing Charlie. Enemy UAV inbound. Taking Alpha. Losing Bravo.
Right, they shouldn't be eating human food.
Losing B.
Same with dogs, yeah.
Operating RCXD.
Losing A.
Right, yeah, they're like, hey, this doesn't taste as good.
We lost A.
Yep.
All objectives locked down. Hold the enemy back. Losing B. Enemy sentry turret detected in your AO. We're losing Alpha. Bravo lost.
Yeah, when we were babysitting my nieces not that long ago, we told my younger one, well, we told them both, but the one's like older and more responsible, and the other one's a little full of mischief, let's just say. So anyway, told her we don't feed the dog human food, you know. We got some pizza that night, and we didn't see her do it, but like the next day, like our dog was like really interested in sniffing around the table, and when we were eating pizza, it was coming, you know, leftovers. I was like, what? I'm like, god damn it, she gave the dog fucking pizza. I was pissed off. Like, man. Yeah, yeah. Rachel thinks she's got kind of right. Yeah, Rachel thinks that she's got like I don't know, kind of behavioral disorder of some kind. I don't know. My brother's never said anything about that, but just based on the way she behaves, she's really like, her mood swings are like gigantic. Like she'll be like crying one minute and just super unreasonable about stuff that's really stupid. I know kids can be like that, and she's like that a lot. Anyway, yeah, she's gonna be a handful, I think. Future, if not already.
Taking A.
I've got this one.
All locations secured. Position.
Get ready. Now my dog has acquired a taste for human flesh.
Losing A.
RCXD maneuvering.
Oh, another weird news. I was out at Rachel's uncle's house yesterday because I had to take the garbage out because, you know, there's a shit ton of garbage and it's garbage night. Today was garbage day. So I went out there and, oh yeah, did I tell you about the modem? How I found out after I threw the modem out, I was told that the cable company didn't need the modem. Yeah, it was a rental. So anyway, so I had to go back there and dig it out of the trash, which luckily I found it. But so I'm over there. Yeah, well, it was in one of 5 bags, and I found it in like the 3rd bag. Yeah, it was kind of gross, but anyway, long story short, when I get there, I go to the front door, and I turn the handle, the door opens, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because my brother-in-law, Doug, was the last to leave, and I told him about the lock. Like, Claude would have it set up so that it would automatically lock when you shut the door. Oh, I got to do an emote here. And I told him, there it is. Did it? Yeah. Yeah, I told him about the weird lock thing, and so, you know, I figured he knew not to do anything with the key after he shut it, you know. But, so I go over there, and the door's fucking open. It'd been open for 2 days since the funeral, and I was like, or before the funeral, and I was like, shit, man. So, like, I walk around the house, make sure nobody's in there. No one was there. Nothing looked like it was messed with. I mean, the house is kind of a mess from us kind of hacking up stuff and crap like that. It's got garbage and stuff all over the place, but nothing, you know, looked like it had been. Yeah, it didn't seem like it, you know. So I emailed Doug, and I'm like, hey, you know, just so you know, I went to the house yesterday, and you know, when I got there, the door was open, and so he said when he left, he's like, what? He's like, when I left, he's like, he shook the door, you know, real hard to make sure that it was locked before he left. I'm like, that's weird. That's fucking weird, you know? Yeah. No, not really. No, it's just like, you ever have a, well, if you know how like some doors have like a push turn button thing in the center the house, and you did the push turn button thing, and then no. Yeah, you can lock the handle, and then when you shut the door, you don't have to fuck around with a key. And that's normally how Claude had it set up. And so anyway, Doug said after he shut the door, he tested it to make sure it was locked, and it was locked. So I'm like, that's fucking weird. The neighbor who we met at the funeral, he would sometimes hang around with Claude and go to certain, you know, like whatever, like they'd go see, I don't know what the hell, they'd go to like Christmas music or something like that or whatever. He's an older guy, also a tradesman like Claude was, and they got along. Anyway, that guy has a key, Paul, and I met him for the first time at the day of the funeral. Nice guy. He had helped us out with taking trash out, taking trash out when Claude was living. Crap. Seems like a trustworthy guy. But just, you know, like, he's the only person I could think of that got in there with a key. I'm like, if he did, why wouldn't he make sure that the door was locked?
You're falling behind, Crimson.
I don't know. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Sure. It's true. Yeah, I was gonna say, and if Doug, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. True. Going home now. Yeah, that is true. Might be a little harder to bust them though, because they're just. Yeah. Yeah. At this point, I don't think there's much in the house that someone would really want. We got all the guns out.
Watch your fucking fireball, look!
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you know, it's an old abandoned house and the old guy died, and so let's go fuck around with the house.
You're falling behind, Crimson.
Sounds very specific. Oh God. Wow. Like an apartment building? Or apartment? Wow.
We're winning. Keep it that way.
Funny.
RCXD active.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Giving up the lead. Enemy UAV inbound.
Random acts of violence when you're a teenager, or not violence, but vandalism. If you're a teenager, you got to get it out somehow. Hey, did you ever hear about what the Nuketown, that challenge about blowing up the heads of the mannequins? Did you ever figure that out? Yeah, I didn't either. So I did execute, so to speak, every mannequin head in the game by myself once, and nothing happened. But maybe it was a timer thing. Yeah, we could try it if you want.
We've taken the lead. Stay on task.
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, you're talking about what later we can do it tomorrow, maybe. Yeah. Thereabouts. Rachel's got her work party, and I know she's gonna come home buzzed and want to hang out right away, most likely. So I don't want her to get too far ahead of me. I'm gonna have to open up. I should be drinking now, as a matter of fact. I'm not. There's something wrong with me. I'm getting concerned for myself. You're not drinking? Oh man. I don't need to talk, man. I need to drink. The time for talking is over. Yeah, she went to she convinced her colleagues to have the work party at this tiki bar that we've been to a few times, and they serve some high-powered stuff. Hopefully she limited herself to 2, because oh, was it? Yeah. Where was it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's lame.
Sighted on target.
Yeah, I only went to a handful in all my years at UIC. I've only been to like 4 at most. Most of them were in the later years too. Don't you and Elena chat still, or? Yeah. Oh.
Hostile long gun neutralized. Vengeance is mine, hijo de puta!
Time's short. Put your head down and secure the target.
Duran? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh, cool.
Puta madre, ceasefire!
I remember the last time I remember talking to him, he was saying he was thinking about buying a like a what do they call those things? Like a trailer. We call it like a box, one of those metal boxes like they have in shipment in Call of Duty, and converting it into a, what do you call those things? Shipping container. I guess it's kind of a bar in his backyard. Like you can make people. Some people like make them into like little houses or office spaces and stuff, I guess. Hey, look who's got the best boy. Yeah, right? I know, I got 2 best plays yesterday, and it's, well, yeah, I'm like, it's weird, like, not talk, or, I'm number 1? Holy shit. Yeah, it's weird, like, I think, like, while we're talking, it must be, like, some primordial, like, subconscious killer instinct just takes over, and we're just, well, we're operating on 2 different levels. That's it. We could shut our eyes. We could shut our eyes and use the Force, and it would all just. I mean, it's Jedi. It's at this level. It's Jedi. I'm actually learning a foreign language while we're playing. I'm listening. Yeah, yeah, I got your back. Yeah, yes, something cut out. Yeah, no, she isn't home yet, so let's go. Another one. Hmm. I mean, we've achieved Zen. Yeah. Well, it is weird. It is weird that I hardly ever get a best play, but like when I'm playing with you, talking and not, overly thinking about it, I do. What? Yeah. Blaster shield or whatever. What a weird thing to have, you know. It's like, here's a lead helmet. You can't see through. What is this used for normally? Cover your head in a giant piece of lead. I bet they sold out when they first introduced that.
Team deathmatch.
The Death Star ordered like a million of them. What do we need this for? It doesn't matter, it looks cool.
Incoming frag.
But I can't see through it. He must not be a Jedi. Ooh. Yeah, you mentioned that. I forgot to check it out.
Healing up.
Cool. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Got the sniper. Let's move. Hostile marksman got careless.
Yeah. I think I do. He, alright. Getting authentic. What's a Wilhelm scream?
Enemy grenade.
In movies, like, they reuse it. It sounds... Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Nice. We're pulling ahead.
Yeah. It sounds familiar.
Shit ain't
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
Lost the advantage.
That's funny.
Operating RCXD.
door.
Yeah, that's where it sounds real familiar.
You got a problem with your eyes? Enemy stun.
Guy in white, is your character? He looks like the Dos Equis guy, you know. Right, most interesting man in the world.
Sniper is down.
Mm-hmm.
Backup's not coming. You want to get out of this alive? Better step up. Jack off. Launch a UAV. We got the lead. Now hold it. We've taken control. Come on, you're losing this fight. Operating RCXD. Bravo fucking Zulu, Black Ops.
Very nice, Marshal. I'm impressed.
I was gonna say, it sounds like a comic book character. Way too manly of a name. Frank Castle.
Hell no, not on my watch.
Think so. Aw. You okay? Yeah, no, it's her. No, it's fine. Let's see. I'm gonna try to do some more clean out of Claude's van, which is parked in our driveway. I bought an air filter for it because I'm figuring, or a cabin filter, I should say. The one that, you know, recycles heat and air conditioning before it enters your car. And I'm like, I haven't looked at it. I just bought it because I knew, or I know that thing, that will help. Well, yeah, other than that, I'm not sure if we're going to go out to this place tomorrow. Big plan. I think, yeah. It's supposed to warm up Saturday, I think. Tomorrow's better than today, and then I think Saturday is better still. Oh, tomorrow is Saturday, duh. I guess tomorrow is nice, yeah. I haven't been walking my dog, it's been so cold.
Incoming flash!
December, this has been a pretty shitty fucking...
Hardpoint located. Hardpoint active. Hardpoint is secure. Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
Enemy deleted.
Hardpoint locked down. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Enemy grenade. Sniper threat defused. Watch your fucking fire!
Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So you're saying we shouldn't double down on coal? What? I thought coal was the future, man. Yeah. It's just totally hideous.
Incoming stun.
Hardpoint active. Hardpoint is secure. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Entity or amenity. Got it.
Enemy on foot. Let that be your fucking lesson.
I think rescinding the polio vaccine is going to put us on top, though.
Hostiles have captured the hardpoint. Hardpoint is secure.
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
Hardpoint is active.
Polio.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Polio.
Your tactics aren't working. Find another way.
Dude, when people were fucking, there was like, I read about when polio, like they were testing the polio vaccine randomly in different cities, including Chicago, you know, when it came out, to see if it worked. You know, they had to prove that it worked. And man, they were like, the whole world was like waiting, you know, did it work? I mean, they were like, they couldn't wait to find out. It was like, it was that deadly of a scourge, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. They say like 1/3 of all children used to die like for the longest fucking time through human history. And it wasn't until vaccines came out that fucking changed.
Hardpoint is secure. Hardpoint active. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Yeah.
Hostile incendiary. Incoming frag. Star incoming. Incoming flashbang. Hostile marksman destroyed. Watch out, grenade!
Hardpoint identified. Hostiles have captured the hardpoint. Hardpoint is secure.
Can't make this shit up.
Hardpoint is active. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Enemy.
Yeah. The only industrialized nation that doesn't have universal health care. Good job, America. No.
Point located. Hardpoint active. Hardpoint locked down. Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
Yes. Oh.
Underwhelming effort today, Chris.
Fuck this.
Oh, you were on top, though.
Withdraw!
Yep. Speckled. Yeah. Sure. Yep. Let's see where I'm at with my challenges. Okay. Okay, I just need blast traps. Gotta get those fucking done. Yeah, I got 2 more to go. All my challenges done. 5. Yeah. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, good timing. It sounds like Rachel's coming home. No. Let's do it. Yeah.
Kill confirmed.
Yeah. I think we broke up for a little. do they gotta walk right on a blast trap to blow up or something? We were on a staircase and it sucks. On a stairwell as someone was coming towards me and they just like walked right past me. Hey.
Sniper, take cover!
Wow.
¡Come mierda!
Yeah.
Shooter!
Just walking around with this blast trap like, come on, somebody. Throw it at your feet and they come into me. I'm gonna drop it. Well, I wasn't. Yeah, I know. I normally was doing that, but no one seems to be falling for it. So I was like, maybe I'll just whip it at their feet and see how that gets me. I don't know. Of course not. Be easier if we were playing like, I guess, like a hard point or something.
Tossing blast trap.
Archangel's up.
Unbelievable. Why did I do that? I just threw one at a guy's feet and then I shot him in the head. Like, why did I shoot him?
Enemy
Like, I guess I wanted to kind of like lure him back towards me, but I killed him. Not smart. Not a good move.
Engaging.
Sit reps. LDBR incoming. RCX team moving out.
I love how you can speed up the RXD, you know, when you're around if you full throttle it. You're like, right at him.
You make a jump too. It's kind of fun.
Sniper threat defused.
Oh yeah, how do you do that?
I think just stay. Like this, like you would jump normally.
Oh wow. I just managed to get a blast trap kill by doing what I wanted to do, just throw it in your
Oh, cool. Sweet. Alright, so that works. Ooh, I got one too. I threw it at the guy's feet. That works.
Enemies have destroyed your assault pack.
One more.
Oh. This is a low score game. You've been hiding the whole time.
Come on, it went off and didn't kill him. Oh, that sucks so close. Oh, way late.
Good job.
Run, cowards.
Alright, try to finish it off.
Wait, did you finish?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it done? The challenge?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm one away.
Well,
yeah, I got one more. Oh well, it's fine.
Well, the challenges flip midday tomorrow, so if you get up in the morning and have time to play, you might be able to finish it. Yeah,
okay.
I think the challenges, I think they switch out like midday. Oh.
Cool. Alright, I'll get it done. Sweet.
That's my favorite emote. The yes. Awesome. Well, hey, have a great evening. If
all right.
Please, I'm gonna be home all weekend, man. Hit me up whenever you want, if you want.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great night. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
Even attached to that woman, which, to be fair, if you're in 1500s, you'd probably think the same thing. You're just like, I don't trust her. Off Often these exhibits showcase people with a unique number of limbs or those with dwarfism. For the time, this was surprising to see and would merit paying for the chance to witness it. We're talking about 1500s. The WWE with Andre the Giant, that was the 70s, and people would come out in droves because before the internet, it was all word of mouth, right? So you would have people be like, the guy's 12 feet tall, he weighs 4,000 pounds. And this weird childlike optimism would go in people's heads and they'd be like, oh my God, he must be the biggest person ever. So the same thing applies with people with dwarves or like people that are like, he's the Spider-Man, he has 8 limbs. I could see people being like, are you fucking kidding me? Here, take a chicken, whatever they're paying. I don't know what they're paying with back then. An early example of a quote freak was Lazarus Colorado and his brother Johannes, who hung upside down from his chest. This is a crazy image, dude. Good fucking Lord. His brother was a parasitic twin that did not speak and kept his eyes and mouth shut. Dude, if I sat there and I saw a guy, he's like, hello, I'm Lazarus. This is Johannes. And he's just like, he's alive, right? He's like, he refuses to look at you. Look at me, Johannes. And he's just like, Because of his condition, he was unable to make money unless it was in the form of showcasing his deformity or freak show. Now, this is kind of a sick way. The first guy who's just like, yeah, I don't give a pay to see me. Look at me. It costs $1. Look at me. Spectators would note that Johannes would occasionally open his eyes. Like it was just upside down. He's just like, that'd be creepy. If I was a kid, that would scare the shit. If I was a 15th century, like Victorian child, I'd be like, hide behind my mom. The two of them even made an appearance with King Charles I in the early 1640s. At one point in Lazarus' life, he was put on trial for murder after smashing a bottle on the head of a drunken man, acting in self-defense. Dude, you definitely know that guy was just like, let me find the pig and let me see his cock. And I was just like, God damn you, sir. I can think Lazarus is like a very well put together guy. You son of a... He was charged with a death sentence. God! Jesus. But it raised the question of whether or not it was moral to take the life of Johannes, who had done nothing wrong. Yeah, Johannes is just like, upside down. Death to Lazarus, but keep Johannes alive somehow. He's innocent. Look at him.
Yeah, that's death sentence.
The death sentence to you. After showing records of the two of them being baptized, Johannes was deemed to indeed have a soul, leading to both of their freedom. So basically just like, fine, throw the freaks in some water. He has a soul. We'll let him live. It'd be funny if the next day Lazarus just busted another bottle over another guy's head. You son of a bitch. Hit him again. Or we can talk about the history of P.T. Barnum and his infamous freak show. Even if you haven't heard of P.T. Barnum, you've probably seen, I would assume, pictures, or this is like the most infamous freak show around. This is the world famous P.T. Barnum freak show.
Also Barnum and Bailey's Circus.
Barnum and Bailey's Circus. You heard of that? I didn't. Nick just said it. I've never heard of that.
Really?
No. While freak show acts technically started in the 16th century, it didn't begin to see widespread appreciation and popularity until the 1800s. 200 goddamn years of Lazarus beating people with bottles and Johannes being like, Oh, do you think he could speak, Johannes?
He said he couldn't speak. His mouth was shut.
He had to feed the little motherfucker on his chest, right? Johannes, eat the gruel. And Lazarus has to lay on his back and like feed him up like that. It'd be a crazy session too. Can you imagine getting back shots from Lazarus and all of a sudden Johannes' hands are just like,
He's feeling it, titty.
Looking like Hector Salamanca, whatever, from Breaking Bad. Lazarus is like, look at me, actor. Look at me, actor. Okay, we gotta move on. Amongst those in circus industry, P.T. Barnum was known as one of the most influential of his time. You may recognize the name for the movie The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman that definitely no one saw. In the movie, P.T. Barnum is portrayed as a fun-loving hero that takes in people with unfortunate abnormalities and celebrates them. But in reality, P.T. Barnum was an incredibly selfish man that took advantage of people around him from the very start of his career. Of course, the 1800s fucking freak show runner is not a good guy. I like how people are like, what? P.T. Barnum wasn't a good guy? He's like, Dolphin Boy, get in the tank. He's like, I actually don't know how to swim. Get in the fucking tank. His name was Phineas Taylor Barnum, and he was born in 1810 and proved himself to be a natural entrepreneur. Before he was 21, he was publishing his own newspaper and running a general store, as well as a lottery business. How the f do you start that? I'll call some numbers later, maybe you'll win. It's like, yeah, I trust you. He entered the world of entertainment at 25 when he bought the rights to the exhibit of an elderly African-American singer named Joyce Heath. She claimed to be the 161-year-old nurse of George Washington. Word? While many believe this claim was laughable, Barnum's impeccable marketing skills made her a cultural phenomenon. It's kind of interesting. The guy's just like, yeah, people will laugh at you, but like, there's gonna be some people who are like, really? Even today, if someone's just like, oh, I knew George, he was my neighbor, there's gonna be some guy be like, are you fucking kidding me? What was he like? Was he cool? You're like, it's been 200 years, sir. It's been almost 300 years.
Also, I think people would be like, oh, that's preposterous. I gotta buy a ticket to prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go and mock them to their face. And it's just going to be like probably like a 65-year-old woman who's just like, she wins you over. Hello. Oh, she's very nice. He had her working 10 to 12 hours a day. He had her working 10 to 12-hour days until she eventually died at the age of 80. Barnum exploited her to the very end, publicly displaying her autopsy for 50 cents to reveal her actual age as a final performance. What a dick, dude. 200-year-old woman, come see how old she really is. It's just like, she was 80. You got duped! The exit's right over there. In 1841, Barnum created the Barnum's American Museum in New York City, which began the golden age of the freak show. This is eerily similar to Zach Baggins. Is it not? He starts off as a ghost hunter, and all of a sudden, now he has a haunted museum. What's going to be next, dude? What is going to be next, actually?
What if he actually captures a real ghost?
I was going to say he starts a brothel.
Oh.
Zach Baggins Suck and Fuck Festival. You can come suck my dick if you want and get haunted. I don't know. The exhibits consisted of various items, like taxidermied animals and fake historical artifacts. They were often referred to as dime museums. One historical artifact was a trunk of a tree that Jesus and his disciples supposedly sat under. He's like, that's it. I think he sat like this. Well, is it? Yeah.
How'd they get that from Jerusalem?
It's a dime. Yeah, how'd you bring that over from Jerusalem? Don't worry about it. The hawk guy helped me. It's like a guy with like covered in feathers. Another was known as Fiji mermaid. Rather than being the mummified remains of an actual mermaid, it was simply the torso and head of a monkey sewn to the back of a fish. I've heard of this one. The monkey thing, it looks rad. Looks very cool. P.T. Barnum's like a master. He's actually a master crafter, and they're just like, you should just become an artist. He's like, no! I'm a showman, you see. I have to make my money my only way I can. It's like impeccable work. P.T. Barnum, while incredibly talented, was very driven by greed and was often quick to exploit and deceive people for financial gain. He was commonly attributed with the phrase, there's a sucker born every minute. That's a fucking good phrase, though, isn't it? For like a seedy, like, there's a sucker born every minute just for me to penny pinch him. His unapologetic exploitation can be highlighted with the biggest breakout exhibit, his human curiosities, consisting of individuals with rare conditions or physical deformities. This would become what is known as the freak show. The performers were marketed as freaks of nature or simply freaks. Which now we can finally get into the freak show acts. Let's actually start looking at what these people are. Starting with General Tom Thumb. Born in 1838, Charles Stratton lived with pituitary dwarfism, meaning his body was unable to properly produce growth hormones. This heavily impaired his development. Hasbulla. Have you seen the video of Mike Tyson kissing Hasbulla? How creepy is that?
I don't know, man. I just thought I was children. I didn't know if you actually knew it. Like 26 years old.
I didn't know he was 30.
He had stopped growing at 6 months old and only grew to a maximum of 3 feet 4 inches in his lifetime. It's kind of tall. Taller than Hasbulla, right? When P.T. Barnum was made aware of this man's condition, he saw an opportunity. He urged his parents to let him take Stratton under his wing in order to turn him into an entertainer. They're just like, let me take your baby, man, and I'll be able to produce gold with him. Like, okay. I imagine the 1800s too, they're just like, you could have just walked in and grabbed him. Take him off my back, literally. He's on my back like a seed tick. Because of his abnormal height, finding a job was no easy task. They took him up on his offer at only 4 years old. That's actually, I thought he was a full-grown man. He's just a child. How do you even know that there's something wrong with him? It wasn't the size of a goddamn, like a volleyball. Let me take your ball, child. 1840, how did you hear about it? Oh my good God. Look at you, little man. I'm 4. That's the strangest 4-year-old I've ever seen. He learned to sing. He learned to sing sing and dance while dressed in elaborate outfits. He was also known for his impersonations of famous people and was regarded as a talented comedian. Talent. He's just like, stop doing the Rockefeller impressions. Get back in your monkey outfit. God damn it. Under his stage name, General Tom Thumb toured with Barnum for 3 years and made a fortune from his success. He even joined Barnum as a business partner. Damn, this looks like it's getting in there. In 1884, Barnum even went on tour to Europe, bringing Stratton along to perform in front of Queen Victoria. Stratton passed away from a stroke in 1883 at the age of 45. It was reported that 10,000 fans attended his funeral. That's actually kind of sick. I mean, like when I heard the 4-year-old thing, I was like, that's crazy. But don't get me wrong, he exploited the shit out of it. But it seemed like they were actually like in cahoots with each other, or he seemed like he got a big part of the pie. Hopefully, even the smallest guy of the pie would be pretty big for him. Okay. Next up, we have the Bearded Lady. One of the most iconic staples of the old school circus freak show was the Bearded Lady, aka Annie Jones. Born in Virginia in 1865, it was reported that she came out of her mother's womb with a chin covered in hair. Her money-hungry family sought to make money off of their daughter, sending her off to P.T. Barnum's New York exhibit before she was even a year old. P.T. Barnum was just, he's like goddamn Professor Xavier. He just is like getting like all these like wayward kids. And he's like, well, I have a school for you to be a freak in, my friend. My God, she was showcased in his museum and became a big hit. At a year old? I mean, behind a glass case, we were just like, ew. P.T. Barnum's just like, good girl, here's an apple. Everyone's just honest to me. Barnum offered her mother a weekly rate of $150 for a 3-year contract. Damn, that must have been good money, right? Holy shit. A lot of money. Annie would contrast her masculine features by dressing in extravagant dresses and even honed her musical skills with the mandolin to elevate her performance. At one point, Annie helped Barnum out as nanny to his children. While she was caring for them, a phrenologist from New York kidnapped her. Blood. A vampire doctor came in and stole her. This man attempted to steal her and add her to his own sideshow exhibit. What? Desperate for the same success, he even claimed Annie was his child. I mean, she can talk. I mean, what? Unless they're all like honest. Feverishly braiding hair. Fortunately, things were settled in court and she was returned to her parents. Oh, good. How old was she at this point?
She's watching Barnum get at 8 years old.
But she like P.T. Barnum's just like, keep the whole house under, don't worry, we're in a bad part of town, watch my kids please. She's at 8 years old with a full beard. She was one of the first to campaign against the usage of pejorative word freak as a way to refer as sideshow performers. Sadly, she died of tuberculosis in 1902 at the age of 37. Damn, dude. It's kind of sick, though, dude. All these people actually have some kind of, like, they're well-adjusted, respectful people trying to make positive change. Both Stratton and Annie here had positive actions, even at such a young age. Being taken away from your family like that, are you fucking kidding me? And then P.T. Barnum's just like, what do you mean? Freak is derogatory. It's just what you are. You're a freak. If I was fat, would it be rude to call me fat? Which now it is, I guess. Okay, never mind. Chang and Eng, the original Siamese twins. Chang and Eng Bunker were born in Thailand in 1811. Conjoined at the sternum with both of their livers fused together. Aside from this, they're completely separate organs. Wow, the only thing combining them was just their livers? That's kind of right? They had begun touring as a sideshow attraction with a man named Robert Hunter in 1829, going to Boston, London, and New York. They were very successful and even got to perform for the Prince of Siam. The f is Siam at? Siam. What's Siam? I don't know shit, dude. That was editor. I don't know. After that, they decided to buy a plantation in North Carolina. What? Investing a fortune in the importation of goods. They both got married and had 21 kids between them. Oh my God. Damn! I want to become a fucking freak, man. I need to get my life on track. Are you kidding me? Holy hell. Purchasing 18 slaves to take care of their massive family. Well, different time. In 1860, they signed with P.T. Barnum in order to have a wax sculpture of them displayed at his New York museum. They worked together for only a short time. Chang and Eng struggled after the Civil War, no longer being able to rely on slave labor. Different time. Their plantation began turning very little profit, prompting them to consign themselves to the life of the circus with Barnum once more. He's just like, sorry, looks like you had to get rid of your helpers, huh? You want to go on the road? Chang Bunker died in 1874 due to cerebral blood clot after failing to perform an emergency separation surgery. Eng Bunker died as well 3 hours later. That is brutal, dude. All because they did what they
surgery?
No, what happened was he died because of the cerebral blood clot. So then they were like, we need to cut you off.
Oh, so they failed. So they tried to do it, but he died 3 hours later. I see. Cut me off of this bastard. Get him off. Or we can talk about Isaac Sprague. I think it's Sprague, the living skeleton. Isaac W. Sprague was born in 1841 in East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. At the age of 12, Isaac suddenly began to lose weight at an incredibly fast rate due to the lack of medical knowledge at the time. Doctors were unable to figure out what was happening. One doctor suggested that it was simply from swimming too much. To have that be a conclusion, he must have been in that fucking pool all day or in the water. Isaac! I'm staying out. But he was fully grown. He weighed about 43 pounds and stood at 5'6". Due to this thin frame, he was often low energy. Yeah, I don't have to walk, I can just float. I like to think that they're just like, you're 43 pounds and you're 5'6". Throws a towel over his shoulder and just walks down to the beach. He had been working for his father as a shoemaker as well as a grocer. However, at 19, his parents had passed away. He found that he was unfit for most other jobs and struggled making a living. In 1865, P.T. Barnum convinced Isaac to work with him, going so far as to offer $80 a week, which is about $1,300 today. Well, it's making about $5 grand a month. A little over $5. Pretty good. Not bad. Fucking living skeleton. I could buy my own pool. Barnum created the stage name The Living Skeleton, and in his act became incredibly successful. That is crazy. He's very thin, man. Nice face, though. Damn nice face. It's kind of crazy. I don't see it now. My legs are too fat. Knees are just always so unpleasant to look at, aren't they? Like, especially on skinny people. I don't like it. Strangely enough, imitators were inspired to starve themselves and lose an unhealthy amount of weight just to gain the same level of success that he did as a sideshow act. Isaac eventually married and had 3 children who did not have any of the ailments as their father. I'm telling you, dude, they are putting us all to shame right now, aren't they? Holy hell. He attempted to take a break from the circus work to be with his family, but eventually had to return to make ends meet. It was known that Isaac heavily disliked the job, likely for the constant ridicule he received for his appearance. Yeah. I don't just sit there and be berated the entire 12 hours a day. Can I please? He had also become too weak to easily perform his job, to the point where he was forced to wear a flask of milk around his neck to make sure he had enough energy throughout the day. Pours in a little tub in front of him. Isaac, you're supposed to drink it, not swim. Okay. As the show began touring around the world, Isaac developed a bad gambling habit. The money that was meant to support his family was being used to feed his addiction. Can you imagine seeing a little muffin like a blackjack table? Hit me. You have 19. All right, that's a 24. Ah, shit. Get the bottom table. You can't swim away from the table. In 1882, he was diagnosed with severe muscle atrophy. Harvard Medical School was fascinated by the rare case, offering him $1,000 or $26,000 today to study his body after his death. Not a bad deal. You give him $25,000 up front now? Are you kidding me? I'm not. Yeah. Isaac eventually died at the age of 45 in 1887 from asphyxiation after living his last several years in extreme poverty.
Dang, he just blew that money away.
He did, dude. I'm telling you, you gotta watch out. Now, hey, who doesn't like playing baccarat, right? Get a little couple drinks, he ain't playing baccarat. Why not? But Isaac, I mean, can you imagine seeing
gambling fucked him up? Wow.
Or 2. People aren't even gonna know. People don't know how to play baccarat. Never mind, doesn't it? But tragedy struck this freak show. While the museum was very successful, a pattern of tragic events pushed Barnum to take this show on the road rather than being confined to a single building. He definitely just burned down his own thing for fire insurance. Let's see. In 1865, Barnum's American Museum was engulfed in flames, destroying the entire property. While no humans lost their lives, it was reported that 2 whales had boiled alive in their tanks.
Look at me. So he was SeaWorld.
His museum had 2 whale tanks. You know, it was something too where they probably were just idle. They can breathe.
Just big enough to put them in.
That's what I'm saying. They're just sitting there like, they can't even move. They're just like, their fins touch the glass. He's like, well, at least they're breathing there. They gotta be happy, right? Hitting the fucking glass really hard. I love you! After it was fully rebuilt, another fire had destroyed the property in 1868, only 3 years later. The water used to extinguish the flames had frozen over, covering the building in icicles and inadvertently creating a dazzling spectacle. It does look pretty sick, honestly. Barnum decided it was not worth to keep rebuilding, opting to take the show on the road instead. It seems something like, is there an insurance scam there?
I bet he was a competitor.
That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, if people are starving themselves, some fucking anemic guy walking up, I haven't had a fucking piece of bread in 3 days.
You Barnum. But because of these fires and not wanting to rebuild, it ended up creating the greatest show on Earth. His new show was established in 1870. P.T. Barnum's Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan, and Hippodrome. You gotta shrink that name. Okay, this was thanks to the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, allowing circuses to easily relocate their animals and equipment, like the whales. P.T. Barnum was eventually approached by W.C. Coop and Dan Costello, agreeing to merge into a much larger production known as The Greatest Show on Earth. That's great. Way better than Hippodrome. And circus shows began to become more and more popular. Many other big acts were being discovered, not just by P.T. Barnum, but from circuses all around the world, such as Myrtle Corbin or the four-legged girl from Texas. Corbin was born with Denningus, a duplication deformity that led to the growth of 2 extra legs and 1 extra pelvis, a whole other pelvis. It's crazy. Tell you what, dude, can I just say something weird? Pelvises are kind of aesthetically pleasing. But actual drawing them?
We're losing Charlie.
I don't have to f***ing defend myself, dude. I said what I said and meant what I said. I feel disgusted there. Oh!
Bone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The bones.
Well, yeah, what do you think I meant? You don't like when a girl has a nice pelvis? Nice abs, you see like little bumps in the pelvis there?
So, but you're not talking about just...
I'm not having this conversation anymore. Well, this is going nowhere. Soon after she was born, her father would charge people a dime to come up and cat her. Hey, you, come here. Give me a dime. Have a good day. They got the attention of Barnum, who snatched her up and had her performing as young as 13 years old. Barnum finds it. Good way to find you, doesn't he? But I like to imagine once again it was her like walking by like a fucking crab. Oh, God. She made enough money to retire at only 18 years old. That's awesome. That's fucking sick. The success of this attraction led many people to create fake prop legs in order to mimic the attraction. As she had a successful career, married, and had 4 children. It was said that different children were born from each orifice. Awesome. Hell yeah. Can you imagine that coming out? Which path are you going to take? See A or B? Does she have 2 C's? Awesome.
Just with the second pelvis.
That's sick, dude. Wonder which one she liked more. This one comes out. See A. She passed away in 1928 before her 60th birthday. For a freak show life, that's a fucking good life. She worked for 5 years and she just retired. That's awesome. Good for her. Or Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. I love the Elephant Man, dude. Yeah, have you ever seen the movie with Anthony Hopkins, the Elephant Man?
Locking down Charlie.
Joseph was born in 1862 and looked like any other healthy child. At the age of 3, he began to develop swelling across his whole body that continued to grow to alarming sizes. In his early years, he struggled to find a job after leaving school. Due to his disfigurement, he could not perform certain tasks and had to look extra hard when she stayed from work. His dad helped him gain the proper license needed to become a door-to-door salesman, but would shock and scare off those that answer the door. First off, way to have not had any intuition. So you look odd. Let's have you do something where you have to approach strangers and talk to them. After being beaten by his father for his poor sales. God damn! You're not selling enough globes. He ran away from home, but this time he was homeless and eventually admitted to the Union Workhouse, which helped out the poor by giving them work, food, and water. The conditions of this place were more so like a prison. His growing deformity took away his ability to perform any sort of physical task. In desperation, he offered to put himself up in a freak show. And soon, he was being paraded as a man that was half elephant, half man. It's so f***ed up. You know, like, it's something, too, that I like to imagine they came up like, just like that. You're an elephant. All right. I mean, he's like, okay. When human curiosity exhibits were outlawed in the UK, he was again desperate for work. He went to Belgium to find work, only to be mistreated even further before contracting a bronchial infection that soon took away his ability to speak clearly. So, what a hand life is dull, yo. With the help of Sir Frederick Trevis, a medical student, he was able to reduce his infection. Regardless, he passed away at the age of 27 from asphyxia. He had dislocated his neck due to the weight of his head and the lack of support from his neck. It was said he tried to sleep on his back like a normal person, which ended up taking his life. This is very sad. Once again, just a completely hand that life gives you. Also, to outlaw the freak show thing, it seems ethical because of human exploitation, but it sucks because you're like, this is probably the only way this man could have ever had any kind of, like, living, you know, any times of means of living. Very sad. Room here, gotta get my another Johan's got him over here. Or we can talk about Fedor Jiftachu. He was JoJo the dog-faced boy. Now we're back in it. Fedor was another one of the most famous sideshow performers. Born in St. Petersburg in 1868, he was brought over to the U.S. when he was 16 to work with P.T. Barnum, because P.T. Barnum always finds a way. He had a condition known as hypertrichosis, which is excessive growth of hair anywhere on the body. The story that Barnum conjured up to sell tickets was that he and his father lived in a cave in the forest before being captured by a hunter. In the story, his father was killed for being far too savage. The reality was his father died by drinking himself to death. Maybe that's being a freak werewolf man might be a better idea. Although Jeff Tachu was incredibly intelligent and could speak various languages, he was reduced to a dog that had to bark at a mocking crowd to make a living. A bilingual man. Reduced to just being like rough, and people were like, oh God! He passed away in 1904 from pneumonia when he was 35, being mourned by fans and performers all over. I will say, I wonder if this had any influence on the werewolf man. Does this not look like the werewolf man?
Looks like the Wolfman, Michael J. Fox.
Well, the Universal movie came out in the 30s or the 20s or something like that, but Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf, you know, the first werewolf man. Or we could talk about Felix Waring, the Elastic Man. Born in 1858, he was born with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare disorder that gave him stretchy joints and skin resulting from very weak connective tissue. Oh, what the fuck does that even mean? This gave him an innate skill, allowing him to pull at his skin like he was made of rubber. He could even bend his fingers backwards. Ooh, can you imagine seeing that? He's just like... He was popular for his contortion sideshow attraction with Barnum and Bailey.
Securing Zone A. Losing Bravo.
This is literally just a real-life Luffy. Makes me sick. Dude, if I had a stretchy, if I was Elastic Man, you better hope I could stretch my cock. That'd be the final. You have like a little pig, kind of tiny, and people are just, oh, they laugh at you, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, really? Would that not be the best way to end your show? Or Grady Stiles, the Lobster Boy. Grady Stiles was born in 1937 with leading to a deformity in his hands and feet that gave him lobster claw-like hands. He was unable to walk due to the shape of his feet. His father already had the condition and was part of a freak show, which led him bringing his children along to join the act. Stiles was known as a lobster boy at age 7. So his dad was a lobster boy. This is kind of sick. His hands do look like lobsters. I gotta say, his get-up's kind of sick, too. They got that old boy splayed open there. Close those legs now. The past 6 generations of his ancestors had this same condition dating back to 1840. The condition seemed to be genetic, leading to a large family with similar appearances. They ultimately created a family circus group called the Lobster Family. The family gained amazing wealth for his performances. Oh, good. But Stiles struggled to cope with those that resented him and treated him with disgust. His answer was a turn to alcohol. This was manifested in anger and violence, which came to haunt Mary Teresa, a carnival grifter that he fell in love with and eventually married. At one point, Stiles allegedly ripped his wife's IUD out of her body during a heated exchange before using his claw-shaped hand to choke her. An IUD?
That's to prevent
pregnancies.
Requesting hard task. Toro authorizing Hellstrom deploy. And LAR. Missiles away.
This would lead to a horrific event in which Stiles murdered an innocent man out of pure anger. His daughter Donna wished to marry a man named Jack Lane. Stiles heavily disapproved, but Donna was eager to escape her dangerous family life and insisted on living with him. Stiles insisted that he would kill him if it were to ever happen. When things calmed down, Stiles and Jack arranged to meet to discuss the marriage. When they met, Stiles pulled out a shotgun and murdered him in cold blood.
Securing Zone A.
Reportedly, after Donald learned of his death, Stiles gave an evil smile and said, I told you I would kill him. On trial, he claimed self-defense and used deformity along It was self-defense. After you just looked at your daughter, I told you I would kill him. On trial, he claimed self-defense and used his deformity along with fake tears to garner enough sympathy to leave with only 15 years of probation. That son of a bitch. At home, the violence only escalated, but after his divorce, the kids were targeted the most. God damn, it still isn't ending. Teresa had already remarried and had children, but felt so much guilt over the state of her other kids that she returned and remarried Stiles. Now fed up, Teresa and her son offered $1,500 to a sideshow performer to take Stiles' life. Sick. Ultimately, Stiles died at the age of 55 after being gunned down in his trailer while he was watching TV. He was hated by many, and only 10 people came to his funeral. What? The Lobster Boy. The Lobster Family. My God. Lobster Boy's a piece of shit. But then we usher in the era of the end of the greatest show in the world. In the 1890s, people became less interested in freak shows due to the ethical and moral issues with parading people's misfortunes for entertainment. Around this time, P.T. Barnum died of a stroke at 80 years old. In 1898, famous sideshow performers staged a labor strike during a UK tour in order to demand the removal of the word freak on all advertising materials. This event was dubbed the Revolt of the Freaks. Ironic.
Let's remove the word.
Yeah,
but
freaks, and then we'll put the revolt of the freaks. In the coming years, medical advancements brought along a better understanding of what was going on with these people, which took away the mystery and magic of human curiosities. It didn't help that the animals held in captivity were mistreated horribly as well. The freak shows eventually died in the 1940s due to federal laws prohibiting the discrimination of people with physical disabilities. Way to go. Barnum and Bailey Circus slowly evolved into the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, which is still running to this day. Kind of crazy. Oh, they just... Okay, never mind. Never mind, it is just gone. The circuses of today are not much better. I think it's still this weird area of animal abuse, you know, exploiting people. I think circuses, the idea of circuses are still very controversial, yet it's still
Cirque du Soleil, please.
Whether the ethics of it, it's still something that happens today. Personally, I'm just like, let's not chain up animals and do what, I mean, like, we have enough, the internet gives us all we need, which that leads me back to the internet. I sincerely believe that vertical content, as we know it, reels, shorts, TikToks, are the future and the mainstream way of the P.T. Barnum production now. Only this time there's no ringleader. The only ringleader is people's need for likes, notoriety, the need for attention, the disconnection people feel nowadays that they try to actively get online. That's the freak show. Even with the things we do on this channel, you could say is a freak show. The participation in weird events just to garner likes and clicks. It's a horrible thing, but people crawl out of the woodworks to be their own P.T. Barnum for themselves and raise their own kind of attractions. And my God, I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. It seems like kind of a thing that'll continuously evolve as time goes on. Now it's vertical content. What will be next? I don't know. But all I know is the freak shows of the past, the people who participated in those, seem to be much, much more respectable than the Jack Dohertys, the Jesse Somalis of the world that we have now. Johnny, whatever. Doesn't matter. He's in South Korea.
Yeah, Trump won and he's a bull in a china shop, and that has 100 problems with it, okay? But mainstream media, those goddamn liars, they were defeated. The establishment of both parties, they're giant liars and they're crooks, and they were defeated. So yeah, I'm a little happy that those evil sons of bitches were defeated. And every time we say stuff like this, they're like, no, you have to cancel the Young Turks. Cancel them. No, no, no. How dare you stick up for the average person? Well, what happened now? You losers. What did you do? You sucked up to your corporate.
You're the losers.
And what'd you get? Loss after loss after loss. And now you want me to have empathy for those corporate Democrats, for the mainstream media? No, I have no empathy for them. They had all of this coming. For God's sake, both left-wing and right-wing populists, wake up.
So after I made my video about the downfall of the Young Turks, they've just gone increasingly, like, I don't even know what the word is. I'd say insane. Like, their actions kind of defy logic, because it seems like they're burning all their bridges with anyone who's like vaguely left-leaning. So recently, they've gone after Sam Cedar again and the Majority Report, and it just seems like sour grapes and jealousy at this point. But I want to talk about this because I think it's time now, and I want this to be my last video on the Young Turks, because I think we just need to move on completely from them. I know Silly and Billy of the Vanguard probably not going to move on anytime soon, but I think for the rest of us, we need to move on, because this organization is clearly not left adjacent. They're literally attacking the left at every single opportunity, because they believe they're the real left, they're the populist left, and we're the woke left, we're the corporate left, all that garbage. Because these people fundamentally don't understand what it means to be a left-wing person, these are liberal capitalists who are now turning into centrist capitalists. And they think you can make more of an alliance with people who support Donald Trump. But I'm not talking about your everyday conservative worker. They're talking about the MAGA elite. They're talking about Elon Musk. They're talking about RFK Jr., who Cenk is actually mates with. And they're talking about going on Patrick Bet-David and Glenn Beck. These are the people they think they can ally with. Conservative millionaires. They're not talking about going around the country and talking to your average conservatives. In fact, TYT, up until election day, have constantly made videos about look how stupid these Trump supporters are. Just your average people. They were making so much videos like that, literally until the last election, and then they're going to turn around and blame the left for Kamala Harris, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's not like Kamala Harris campaigned on LGBT rights or something like that. She campaigned on people love me saying this because they keep calling me out in the comments. She campaigned on basically nothing. She campaigned on vibes. She campaigned on incrementalism. That's why she lost. Donald Trump is just really popular anyway. Joe Biden and Harris are very unpopular. Remember how unpopular Harris was in 2020 before she was vice president? Very, very unpopular administration. And Donald Trump used the rhetoric of, you know, some sort of change in like a fascist framework. So it's easy to understand why he won with that. But Jane and Anna seem to think, oh, it's actually because conservatives are rock stars and the cool kids now, as Glenn Beck said to Anna the other day, which was just so insane. Because no, they're not. They just own the media and they have bigger propaganda networks. And Jane and Anna have firmly bought into this stuff where they're saying like they're happy Donald Trump won because it's a fuck you to the establishment, which is insane. But anyway, in terms of the recent drama, they keep getting really mad that people keep bringing up the Majority Report and Sam Cedar because they've stolen their thunder, basically. Like, I'm not going to pretend Sam Cedar is some like radical communist, but I like their coverage of US politics. And it seems like while they might not all be like massive communists, although I think a few of the crew are like very left-leaning and socialist and stuff, it's pretty clear they're not like anti-us. Like, if I went on there and said I was a communist, I don't think they'd attack me as some nut job, where Cenk definitely would. But if we talk about the recent drama, yeah, Cenk called them out again and basically was roasting Emma because Emma was crying after Donald Trump won. And Cenk is trying to say it's because she was really upset Kamala Harris lost and the Majority Report are going to pick a corporate pick in the next Dem primary or something.
So finally, after somebody goes and does it 1,000 times, we're like, all right, fuck it. Here's who's doing it, and fuck it, right? Yeah. And then everybody's like, oh no! I can't believe you're saying that about poor Jimmy Dore. I can't believe you're saying that about poor Dave Rubin. I can't believe you're saying that about poor Sam Cedar. I know. Poor Sam. Okay. So anyways, yeah. And so look, they claim to be more left-wing, and then they'll look. No, hold on, let me finish. And then they'll go around and be like, oh, corporatist politicians, yes, establishment Democrats, Kamala Harris. What happened? I thought Kamala Harris was a cop. Now all of a sudden, what happened? What happened? There's only two things that make you cry: when establishment Democrats lose, and when we fight back against you. Oh, well, you're not supposed to fight back. Oh, they're so rude. I mean, we only call them Nazis. Why are they fighting back? You see how they're the bad guys? Cry all you want. I don't give a goddamn what you do. But if you guys support a corporatist prick in the next primary because of identity politics or any other bullshit, I'm going to let everybody know and all of the things you've ever done in your life was apparently totally and utterly fraudulent. And all you wanted was to get some pats on the head from the establishment. We're populist. Are you guys populist? I don't see that at all. Oh, cheer for the establishment. Yay! Okay, go ahead. Do it in the next primary. Go support Pete Buttigieg in the next primary or Gavin Newsom. Let me see you. Okay?
Which is absolutely unhinged, by the way, considering both these people have voted for Republican politicians in California. And they're talking about like the Majority Report going full corporate. But then Matt Leck from the Majority Report just talked about, you know, the corporate investments, Polymarket, among other things, TYT, which frames itself as like a more crowd-funded thing. Emma talked about the union busting that went on there, where Anna actually had to call Emma out about this, saying to Emma, another sign of her pathetic dishonesty, Emma was employed by TYT when the company announced recognition of the union. These cheap shots to make herself look like a class warrior crack me up, especially when she advocates that we all shut up and take it when someone assaults us on public transportation. Not wanting to get punched in the face is a bougie concern after all. I don't know why she's bringing that up. That's when Emma talked about just like some potential confrontation she could have had on the New York subway with like a homeless person, where she said she wouldn't like, I don't know, aggravate them or something. And then Emma saying, unclear what that means. I'm a member of a union. If that's a shot at my upbringing, I'll let my work speak for itself. The TYT NLRB complaint is public. I've tried to keep our differences professional. I loved you as a friend at one point. I'm sorry you've gone down this road. And Anna saying, no, you didn't try to keep shit professional, Emma. You've been mocking me, especially, and running your mouth for a year. Your aggression into cheering on crime, in addition to your identitarian streak, is grotesque. So yeah, that's pretty like unhinged for someone who's like worked for your network for a long time. But yeah, Emma has been saying stuff about TYT, more specifically Cenk, But I think it's fair enough for her to call out her old like colleagues and stuff when they're going so right wing. And it seems to be that TYT only care if you criticize them if you're left wing. So Anna's been doing the rounds on all these right wing podcasts. Do you think like Glenn Beck and all these others have never said anything bad about you guys at TYT? Of course they have. They've said something. They've said horrific shit about all of you guys. But I realize what this is now. Cenk and Anna don't get mad at the right wingers because they feel like we owe them a debt on the left. They feel like because Cenk obviously pioneered this like more progressive YouTube show, he thinks he created the space, so we all must like swear fealty to him and not criticize him. Obviously, you know, he gave Hassan Piker his first job in this space as well, and there's like various offshoots who collaborated with TYT over the years. I remember, you know, growing up, there wasn't too many other options. I started my own YouTube channel because I was inspired by them. But it's also called politically evolving. Like, yeah, it's disappointing when people become right-wing, but we don't owe Cenk anything because now we aren't the same politically. You're becoming a weird, like, centrist, and we're staying consistent with our left-wing politics where we don't want to sell out trans people because they're facing so much hate at the moment because you think it's worth sacrificing them to get Republicans to watch your show. We all realise that sometimes you have to fight for the unpopular thing. It's a weird mix of like just pure electoralism and a weird form of class reductionism. But it's like they're giving in to all the right-wing framing to try and get right-wingers to like their stuff about like universal healthcare. And the thing is, sometimes when you have principles and you want to stand up for them, it's going to be unpopular, but you can walk and chew gum. Like, think of all like the socialist governments in history that pass things that are overwhelmingly popular. Like, think about the Mexican government at the moment. Think about various Labour governments that were popular. Do you think all their social views were like really, really popular? You know, the Labour government in the 60s decriminalised being gay. Do you think everyone in the UK absolutely loved that? No, but they also like the policy of the Labour government. And the same things in other places. When you pass progressive policies, you can be progressive socially as well. You don't really care because people mainly care about financial things. But they think it means you have to only care about financial things and actually never talk about the social things, which is just like a wrong strategy in my opinion, and it's just being cowardly. And he's just trying to sell out for right-wing, you know, money. Stonewall, which that charity is named afterwards, that's actually like a riot, like beating up police in New York. Like, do you think that was popular? Do you think they went around testing the local public about, do you think we should fight the police for gay rights? Do you think we should fight the police for LGBT rights? No. But that's just where they're at this point. And like I've been saying, TYT isn't only like useless to the left, it is like against us. And although we should like call them out when they like we need to, at the same time we shouldn't call them out thinking, oh, like do better, you're left wing. It's like, no, you're hostile to us the same way that like the Daily Wire is hostile to us, and you probably agree more with them these days than you do with us, saying how much you're happy that Trump won and all these billionaires took over American democracy. And they both had their brains firmly cooked by Twitter, and they view politics specifically through the lens of who is nice to me. And because we're mean, because they have bad takes, they're going like more rightwards now. And that's just everything you need to know about them. They're just really thin-skinned. But that's also the danger of these networks. And I'm seeing it a bit with Novara Media now in the UK. When you have these networks and it's like dominated by one person who has the final say, it really opens it up to go in a direction like this, because he is pushing them in one direction with Anna as well, right? So all the other people who work there, let's say John and some others, they have to go along with this, right? They can't really speak up, and they can't really start saying, you know, I don't agree with the direction, let's go this way. They just have to resign or stay on it, right? And I would say anyone working for like TYT right now, you're not helping the left. You're actively doing damage to the left by giving any of your leftist credibility to this network, which is actively fighting against us at this point. So that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Charlie locked down. Bravo lost. They're taking all zones.
Yeah, Trump won, and he's a bull in a china shop.
my name is Mike, and in this old video, it's one of them, well, shucks, when things is going so swell type situations. Well, I mean, they would be right if it wasn't just like a little secret and a lot of murder of the very worst kind. But sure, if there wasn't, would I be telling it? You know the drill yourself, big dog. What happened back in 2012, a decade and a half ago at this point? Yeah, I feel sick too. It was a horror show, and what followed was a shit show. What you're trying to do. Why you walked off? Go get him now. Before we get into it, please subscribe to see new videos every single week. Now, let's give it a go. Agency. That's what people in this story had, but I mean, it's also where this story was set.
Protect my
That's a tiny little town in Wapello County, Iowa. And what can I say about it? Absolutely nothing. So let's get to the folk who lived there. In May 2012, to everybody who knew them and also like the world looking in, which I guess is us, Seth and Lisa Teckle seemed to have the world at their feet. The couple had tied the knot less than a year earlier, after 7 entire years together, and they were now living in a trailer on a plot of land given to the couple by Seth's dad, Big Doug, while the couple were planning to build themselves a permanent family home. Lisa Teckle, she worked alongside her own father, Todd Caldwell, himself a deputy with the sheriff's office. By the way, Lisa's middle name was Marie, and her younger sister's name was Presley, so her dad... Big Beatles fan, am I right? I'm never gonna stop. First, Lisa Teckle was a reserve deputy, then a jailer. Seth Teckle, too, he long held ambitions of joining the sheriff's department. And after a stint as a reserve fireman, he was finally looking forward to joining his wife and father-in-law as a jailer. But at the moment, he was working in the Job Corps. So a very happy, big family. Seth and Lisa, they had, been childhood sweethearts before eventually, marrying, and the whole family, the entire two families, like the Caldwell family and the Teckle family, they were very much intertwined. For example, Lisa Teckle, big bowler, mad for it, absolutely loved it. Seth Teckle's dad, Doug, didn't he just own the local bowling alley? And now Seth was planning on working with Lisa's family, for the sheriff's department. So you got these two childhood sweethearts. We're in each other's orbits from a very young age. And when Seth finally, went to Todd Caldwell, Lisa's dad, asking for permission, for her hand in marriage, they were only too happy. They already viewed Seth as their own son. So it was, they were happy as a pig in shy face when he asked, to cut a long story short. To top it all off, Lisa was 4 months pregnant with the couple's first child. They even had a name already and picked out, Zoe Marie. But here comes the fall. Shortly after 5 a.m., May 26th, 2012, Seth Teckle made this 911 call.
Okay, 911, sir. Capturing. Protect my six.
A Wapello County Sheriff's deputy was first on the scene, finding Seth topless, only wearing a pair of loose-fitting cargo shorts. He was frantic and confused. The deputy in fact knew Seth and tried to calm him and explain what had happened. Between very deep breaths, Seth told him Lisa had been shot. Seth said he had been in the shower, getting ready for another day on the rig when he heard a gunshot coming from inside his own house. Seth first went to grab one of his own gun because he was gonna blow away whoever was shooting inside his house. But this mysterious shooter was gone, and it was only when he returned back in after chasing the invisible man around that he found his wife in bed, and she was very bloody.
We'll figure it out, bud. We're losing Charlie. We'll figure it out.
When the deputy went inside, he found the house empty except for Lisa. She was laid on the bed, surrounded by blood. As I said, a lot of blood. Lisa had been asleep when she'd been shot. It appeared from Seth's story that someone had broken in and shot her dead while she was asleep. Shot her from only a few feet away with a 12-gauge shotgun. Despite the best efforts of the responding paramedics, deputies, even her own father, a deputy himself, 23-year-old Lisa Teckle had lost too much blood and suffered too much damage to even make it to the hospital. After returning from inside the house, Todd Caldwell, he was caught on dash cam.
Go get him. Go get him. Now.
Who's he? The killer? Well, here, listen to this, hotshot. Todd actually had something much more specific to him in mind. The him in question was the Teckle's neighbor, Brian Tate. See, Brian Tate and Seth Teckle, neighbors living in this middle of nowhere place in Iowa. They've been having a bit of a argy-bargy, bit of a dispute lately. And so, when Lisa Teckle ends up shot dead in her own bed, who had they just been fighting with? Big B, Brian Tate. See, the whole thing had started when Seth had been driving along and hit a deer carcass in the middle of the road. And so he was like, well, can't just leave this shit lying around. He dragged the deer carcass off the road, as you would. I mean, maybe you would. But the thing is, he left the deer carcass on his neighbor's property, Brian Tate's property. So Brian comes out of his house then one day, sees a dead deer. He's like, I'm not having this. Grabs the deer, knows that Seth had left there, puts the deer back into Seth's land. Seth then promptly put it back into Brian's land. Nobody wants a dead deer. I mean, there's probably some good meat there, folks. That's how we're working. But just like that, war was on, folks.
Incoming front.
From then on, the neighbors had apparently taken any opportunity to inconvenience each other. Eventually, Seth had even employed his friends to help mess with Brian. Only Brian Tate. Stay here, old folks. No, I wouldn't be messed with at all. He wouldn't have it. I wouldn't mess. See, Brian, it turned out, was not only a military veteran, he also had a very strong case of PTSD and paranoid schizophrenia. The feud between Seth and Brian Tate had escalated to the point of Brian calling the local sheriff's office. He'd finally had enough after someone, Seth and his pals, in Brian's opinion, they had dumped buckets of dog shite on his car, which, I mean, it's fair. Fair to have a problem with that, I suppose. And so the sheriff sent out a deputy to Brian Tate. Have a chat with him, see what's the crack. Only the deputy the sheriff sent out was Todd Caldwell, the person Brian Tate was having an argument with, his father-in-law. Brian Tate did not know this.
I can't. That's Tackle. He's Tackle. Yeah, his dad owns Champion Bowl. Okay. And they were good people. Yeah, they really are. If you can,
the first time Deputy Caldwell visited Brian, he was alone. The second time, he had a colleague with them. But both times went pretty much the same. Todd Caldwell would say he's a lunatic. Don't mess with him. He's a madman. He'd be there. He was like caressing his shotgun like it was his pet cat. He was having a great time. And he was just ranting and raving. He was calling the Teckles terrorists. And so then, when Lisa ends up dead, Todd had just been to see him twice, and he had said some very mean, nasty folks things about old Lisa and Seth. Well, you can see why Todd would immediately assume it was Brian Tate, the next door neighbor who has a shotgun and is insane and has a problem with both. And so, the same day of Lisa's death, deputies, that's any excuse, folks, to get locked and loaded. They get up there with their long rifles, full-on body armor, SWAT team style gear, probably tanks too. They go outside Brian Tate's house and are ready to kick in the door. But, unbeknownst to them, Brian Tate actually turned out to be a lovely fella. He, unarmed, said, "How is, lads? Come on in. What's going on next door? Hope you're all right." He was happy to talk very calmly, answer any questions the responding officers had.
There's been a death at the home behind here of a female. Do a neighborhood canvas. Just try to send as many people as we can. Is that okay? That's fine. Okay.
You were such a calm, quiet guy until this vandalism started, and then you're just like a different person.
I was Mr. Nice Guy for a long time. It done me no good. People took advantage of me, so I'm kind of taking a different approach to life right now, being more serious and more not such a nice guy.
He explained he had been angry about the vandalism and harassment but he was doing much better now. And in fairness, the Teckles had started it by leaving a dead deer on his property and then buckets of shit on his car. So he kind of got, Brian Tate gets a bit maligned in this story. But one of the other reasons he was now so calm was that he had just increased his dosage of antipsychotic medication about a week earlier, and he was now finally getting better sleep, something his mother confirmed. She would say he was sleeping. Yeah, he slept like a log all the time, and at 5 a.m. he was certainly asleep at home. There's no way he was next door shooting some, a young mother as she slept. In fact, they actually ruled Brian Tate out relatively early, as in the official investigators and detectives did. The community, maybe not, and the Caldwells and the Teckles, more definitely not. Almost as if the reports about Brian Tate by his enemy's father-in-law were blown way out of proportion, if you can believe that.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you, you know?
I don't want to be yelled at either.
Well, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and I don't understand why you walked off.
Your voice now.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
But the actual investigators who had an actual job to do, they turned their attention to the only other person who was in the house when Lisa Teckle was murdered. Just 8 hours on after Lisa's murder, Seth Teckle was taken to the sheriff's office to go through what happened.
I turned the shower on. I wasn't in there for more than 5 minutes, and I heard this loud noise, and I will be honest, I had every intention on shooting whoever it was. I don't see anybody. I don't hear nothing. I run back inside. I run into the bedroom. I said, Lisa, are you okay? And she's not breathing. I kept doing it. I kept protecting. I was 7 feet away from her. Why can't they still be alive? Why?
Deathmatch.
Why couldn't I go to
Go.
One of the first topics covered, of course, how yourself and your wife, you have any enemies, anybody who might want to shoot you. And of course, Seth goes, you talk to your man next door. He's a madman. He's crazy. Cuckoo bats. He's a lunatic. Of course, Seth didn't know. Yes, they had already talked to him, and he seemed like a perfectly nice guy.
What's wrong with your theory here that it was true, right? I mean, is that fair to call? That's still what I got. I don't know. You have to be a big jackass to walk into somebody's house and shoot. Who was the first person who came?
Giving up the lead.
Tate. That's my crazy-ass neighbor who thinks that we're terrorists.
After just a couple of hours of interrogation, though, things kind of changed just a little bit. See, the detective interviewing Seth received, clackety text, and it's like one of those things where most of the time, if you're being interviewed by a detective, they'll only ask you questions they already know the answer to. At least it's fair to assume that they do. Seth did not make that assumption. Which, I mean, as well, if he's somebody who wants to work in law enforcement, he was not a bright spark.
We're going to work at a job board at security, but actually next month I'm coming to work here in jail.
See, unknown to Seth was that a friend of his had actually arrived that morning to collect a puppy that Seth had been watching. And the friend, though, arrives and there's millions of cops around and he has no idea what's going on. But this friend was happy to yap away with the police, giving a bit more, inside scoop of Seth. And he would say, well, you'll never get this. Seth is a burner phone. You guys should probably know that. He also just recently borrowed a shotgun from another friend. Can't see it here. Wonder what that's about. And all the while, Seth is telling the detective one thing. His friends are telling deputies something else. Lisa's own father is banging on the door, telling Seth to get out and to get a lawyer and don't talk to the detectives. It was then Seth said, this probably has nothing to do with anything, but, may as well tell you.
I know I'm obviously probably number one right now. Let's talk about people that are in your lives and lives. Was there any extra marital marriage?
Enter a new character, Seth's co-worker at Job Corps, where he was currently working, Rachel McFarland. At first, Seth claimed nothing had really happened between the two. Then Seth revised his story and said, okay, maybe we swapped some risque texts. Then maybe I sent her a picture of my dick or something like that. Alright, then he'd given her a hug. Fine, okay, they kissed. But that was it. Honest to God, lads, I'm telling the truth now. When before I said I was telling the truth and I was lying, that was lying, but now I'm telling the truth. You can trust me.
You know, work that I was texting, but I wasn't seeing her. It wasn't anything. It was just, hey, how was your day? Was considered sex? No, none of that. What are you wearing? No, it wasn't any of that. We have to be. And gonna head out the race. Never had sex with her. No, nothing oral, nothing like that. I gave her hugs, and I'm kidding.
Eventually, Seth admitted that Rachel McFarland, she might somehow be under the impression that I'm actually gonna leave my wife. She may be under that impression. I don't know why Rachel would be under the impression I'm gonna leave, you know, my young, heavily pregnant wife. Where did she get that idea? Women, what? Okay, well, maybe I told her I was actually gonna leave Lisa for her, but it was a joke. Duh. I was just telling Rachel I was gonna leave Lisa for the attention, because you know what? Lads love attention. Anything for her.
Here's the deal, okay? Facts, right now, these case facts, show us. You're responsible.
No. I can't kill my wife. I can't do it. What facts do you have that I killed her?
I've seen Rachel. Okay. I know
I am telling you, if I wanted to be with Rachel, I would give it a divorce. I would not kill my wife over something that small. You know what? Right now, I guess I don't give a what happens to me, okay? I know what happened. I know what you're trying to do. What am I? You're trying to get me upset, and it's working. Congratulations. I can't control what other people see or think they see. Right. I'm telling you that right now, I have to bury my wife and kid, my unborn kid. Okay? Whoever did this is going to pay.
Meanwhile, the investigation continued along at speed. Once daylight had hit the scene, a proper search had started. The list of items the officers wanted to find was a short one. That missing camo Mossberg Model 512 gauge shotgun was certainly top of the list. A weapon that Seth had borrowed from a friend, mysteriously borrowed from a friend, and now was nowhere to be found. But the search had barely begun when an agent shouted out. They had it! Just a short walk from the trailer, hidden in the tree line, was the shotgun. And later, it would be confirmed by ballistics as the gun that had fired the shell that killed Lisa. The discovery of the gun was the biggest one ever, and it pointed the finger squarely at Seth Teckle. So at this point, if you're assuming Seth pulled the trigger and then he just ran to, oh, I'll throw it in the bushes right outside my house. He really is nuts. He's dumb as shit. He's dumb as the shit he poured on Brian Tate's car. 7 months after the couple had married, it was Lisa's own funeral. Once the ceremony had ended, and only the two now divided families were left, Seth was approached by the same deputy who'd been first on the scene that night, and now he was asking him to join them outside. When Seth Teckle did, he was read his rights and placed in cuffs. The cuffs that Seth Teckle was placed in were Lisa's own handcuffs from the jail.
The district courtroom at the Wapello County Courthouse was packed Thursday morning as family members, friends, and members of the media came to hear opening arguments in the trial of Seth Teckle. The state presented their arguments to the jury in under an hour, focusing more on Seth's relationships with his co-worker at Job Corps and how events in that relationship led up to the death of Lisa Teckle and her unborn child. On the other side, the defense took most of the morning not to talk about Seth's relationships, but rather talk more about the scene of the crime and how the crime was investigated by the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation and also the Wapello County Sheriff's Office.
From the beginning of Seth Teckle's murder trial, the defense focused almost entirely on Brian Tate. They did everything they could to throw him under the bus. And in the local community, people were still, talking about BT over there. Brian Tate, he's the one who did it. He clearly is. It's Seth? Sure, why would he be killing her? It's definitely him. The rumors were abounding and abounding. Even though the police had cleared him, relatively early. And an interesting observation was actually made by the prosecution regarding when Seth and his father, Doug Teckle, first went back to the home after Lisa's murder, and Seth had been questioned. He finally gets a lawyer, and then Seth and his dad, they go back to the home, right? And apparently a person who was nearby witnessed Seth. What did Seth do as soon as he got out of the car? When they pull up, and it's his first time back in the house. He walks over to where the tree was for where he hid the feckin' shotgun, and he doesn't find it. Seth probably shot himself. The defense, though, would say, oh no, he didn't go over there because he was looking for the murder weapon because he knew where it would be. No, he went over there because they'd spray painted like an X. The search investigators would say, oh, this is where it's been found. That's extra easily explainable. That kind of like tit for tat really kind of sums up actually the entire trial with no definitive evidence to say who had done it. Rachel McFarland, Seth's mistress. Yeah, well, I mean, he fucking wishes. Her testimony was particularly damning for Seth.
Started becoming more than just co-workers. It went from just normal conversations to flirtatious text messages. It became more sexual, asking me to send pictures. He started asking if he got a divorce from his wife, if I'd move in with him. And I said no.
Womp womp. She too would confirm the relationship was never sexual. Her texts to and from Seth were described as a, quote, countdown to murder, as they featured Seth's assurances that the two would soon be together, which I don't think she was even into.
I said no.
He even called her pet names like Bella and Mrs. Resuscitator. The second, Mrs. Resuscitator, was an in-joke between the couple, as Rachel and her co-workers had taken to call Seth Mr. Resuscitator, ironically, thanks to Seth's habit of bragging about saving so many lives when he had been a reserve fireman. That's the thing though, he was never even,
Did not have penitentiary contact with Ovalvo.
But he would still kill his wife to be with her? Good gracious. Rachel also told the court about an incident earlier in the month leading up to the murder. When Rachel had mentioned seeing another co-worker, Seth seemed to react in a jealous manner. He then told Rachel just to, quote, give him 2 more weeks. When she asked what he meant by that, he repeated, just give him 2 more weeks. And no prizes for guessing what happened in 2 weeks. He killed his wife. Then the evening before the murder, Seth messaged Rachel saying, it's done. Rachel just assumed that meant he was leaving Lisa. And I mean, I suppose he was just very permanently leaving Lisa. The first trial, however, ended in a mistrial. It ended in a mistrial. The second trial would be very similar to the first. So similar, in fact, that the second trial also ended in a mistrial. Trial number 3 of Seth Teckle for the murder of his wife actually did bring something new to the table. A brand new defense team along with a brand new argument. Rather than offer up Brian Tate as, the sacrificial boogeyman and that he was the real guy, they instead went with a different tact. This time the defense were saying the authorities' investigation of this was shite. They never even swabbed Seth's hands for gunshot residue the morning, when they arrived and they found him. But you also have to remember Seth was just conveniently having a shower when his wife was killed. So they might not have actually got anything off him anyway, because he completely scrubbed his body from head to toe. I mean, he plays around with dog shit, so he's probably a stinky bastard. And guess what? Can I shock you? Another surprise came when the defense revealed a revelation, right? Seth wasn't the only one with some secrets. Lisa Teckle, she had a few secrets of her own. She had been having her own affair. And it wasn't just sending dick pics and hugging. It was in fact her colleague at the jail and her lover, Jason Tinnis, who would testify that he and Lisa had begun seeing each other before Seth and Lisa had gotten married, and had only stopped it a few weeks before her death. He also admitted that at one time he thought the baby she was pregnant with, sure, it may have been his. Now, it wasn't. The testing would reveal it was Seth's baby, but that's, pretty dodgy. So then they were like, well, maybe he did it. Regardless, the defense did their best to drag out the details of the affair, while in contrast, they did the complete opposite with Seth's own affair. The defense's cross-examination of Rachel McFarland this time, it lasted only 7 minutes. It was basically limited to clarifying that although So Lisa was having an affair with a coworker, or had been having an affair, and it was very sexual in nature. Seth was, I suppose, kind of trying to have an affair with this woman, Rachel. But yeah, even she would say no, they never had sex. It was literally dick pics. So it was like, why would he murder his wife for a woman he wasn't even, you know, banging? The defense used the police's failure to uncover Lisa's affair as another failure on behalf of the investigation. They also argued that it showed the investigation had solely focused on Seth from such an early stage that the police used tunnel vision on him. Of course, they failed to talk about, at this time, about how previous defenses and the police had initially suspected Brian Tate. They also questioned why Jason Tinnis hadn't been suspected or questioned, even though Jason had a solid alibi for the time of the murder. Jason's alibi was from the last person you would think would lie from him. The wife he was cheating on with. After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury foreman came out with a verdict that was actually pretty shocking. And I'm not being sarcastic. It was a guilty verdict. Guilty on all counts.
The jury find the defendant, Seth Andrew Teckle, guilty of murder in the first degree.
Seth Teckle sat still, barely moving, and stared directly at each of Lisa's family members as they spoke. He was asked by the judge if he had anything to say.
Not this time, Your Honor.
After 3 trials in 2 years, Lisa Teckle's family heard the news. They've waited to hear.
Actually, this is the last time we have to see Seth Teckle, and that's fine by me.
Guilty of murdering his wife, and the second count was of illegally terminating her pregnancy. If it had been a couple of weeks later, he would have been guilty of 2 counts of murder. Ultimately, it all came down to just one thing that kind of wraps up a lot